Chapter 1. Transmigration into an elementary god of war swallowed star world. Jiangnan Base City, Yangzhou City South Bank residential area. The narrow room was dim. The ceiling lamp flickered. A thin young man lay on the bed, his right leg in a cast, his face pale and drawn. I transmigrated? Images, snatches of news and locations, flashed through Yue Ming's mind like a montage. RR virus outbreak, Great Nirvana period, Dojo of Limits, Thunder Martial Arts Hall, Hong, the world's #1. Holy crap, I actually transmigrated into the swallowed star world. As the original body's memories merged with his own, everything came into focus. He had indeed transmigrated. Worse, the body he inhabited was crippled. Staring at the right leg wrapped in plaster and feeling nothing below the cast, Yue Ming nearly burst into tears. The original body's name was Yue Ming as well. When the original Yue Ming was 6, his parents died in a beast tide. He grew up in an orphanage and became withdrawn, with almost no friends. But he refused to lead an ordinary life. He vowed to avenge his parents and aimed to become a martial artist. His aptitude wasn't terrible. He became a quasi-martial artist at 22 and passed the HR Alliance combat assessment. He spent 4 years hunting in the wilderness area with an Alliance team. Now 26, he had just broken through to elementary god of war earlier this year and had decent strength. Fate, however, had been cruel. 2 months ago in the wilderness area, their team ran into an advanced beast general. After a bloody retreat, the team suffered heavy losses. The original body survived, but the right leg was so badly injured and so long left untreated that it was now useless. Unless he could obtain a water of life, recovery was impossible. As an elementary god of war who had only recently broken through, he couldn't afford one. Most of the money he had earned hunting monsters over the years had been spent on secret techniques and gear. Total assets, under 200 million, nowhere near enough to buy a water of life. Because his right leg was crippled and recovery seemed hopeless, the HR Alliance had terminated his contract and repossessed his villa in the martial artist residential area. Pushed to the edge, the original Yue Ming had taken a small rental in the South Bank residential area, planning to recuperate and then apply for coaching jobs at the Dojo of Limits or the Thunder Martial Arts Hall once he recovered. Even crippled, he reasoned, he still had experience and elementary god of war power. He could at least be a coach. But the new Yue Ming had no intention of living a humdrum life and dying a forgotten corpse 100 years later. He wouldn't aim straight for Universe Lord, but he wanted something better than being a crippled coach, at the very least, an undying spiritual god. First things first, fix the leg. Without healing, all other plans were pointless. Before Luo Feng went to the universe, Yue Ming wanted to reach planetary level. Maybe he could then hitch a ride. He thought of Luo Feng, who after becoming a martial artist seemed to have a golden finger. Luo Feng reached planetary level in just over a year and shot up into prominence upon entering the universe. Such luck was envy-inducing, but those opportunities were prearranged and hard to snatch. For example, the Yunmo planet legacy required a psyker master with very high aptitude. Babata would never favor someone with poor aptitude. On Earth, only Luo Feng just barely qualified, with a brain domain breadth over 20. The Golden Horn Beast possession chance required first obtaining the Yunmo planet legacy. The greatest chance on Earth, though, was the 9 Tribulations secret codex. Cultivating it could multiply one's genes. Compared with that, the Yunmo planet legacy was minor. But the codex had likely been scattered onto Earth by Zuo Shanke, and finding it was like finding a needle in a haystack. Even if he did find it, Yue Ming wouldn't dare cultivate it. One misstep, and his body would collapse. He had no clone. Death would be permanent. Water of life and the spirit of grass and wood could regrow limbs. Water of life could be bought for the right price. The spirit of grass and wood was priceless. He knew Mist Island in Australia harbored many spirits of grass and wood, but Mist Island was a monster wasteland filled with Lord-level and King-level beasts. Without advanced God of War power, going there at full strength was already suicidal, let alone with a crippled leg at 30% capability. Mist Island is out for now, he decided. I'll find a way to earn money to buy a water of life, or maybe sell the information about Mist Island's riches to the martial arts halls. It could fetch a high price. If Mist Island gets exposed and I'm strong enough, I can go mine it myself. If not, maybe take the risk later. He stewed over how other transmigrators always seemed to get golden fingers. Why had he been unlucky enough to arrive as a cripple with no special power? Just as he was bemoaning his luck, a chime sounded in his mind. Ding dong, Transmigrator Chat Group number 98 invites you to join. Without hesitation, he agreed. Yue Ming had been an avid reader for over 10 years. He knew what chat groups were. A semi-transparent virtual screen, tinged with sci-fi light, appeared before his eyes, visible only to members. His heart raced, but he kept his expression steady. After all, universe lords and the strongest could manipulate time. Information could be critical. This chat group might be his way to rise in the swallowed star world, and he didn't want anyone knowing his plans. Chapter 2, Law Fusion Device. To all Transmigrator seniors, I am Yue Ming. I'm new here. Please take care of me. Yue Ming scanned the member list. The chat group was sparsely populated. 9 members in total, only 5 online. Each name made the format obvious, world in brackets, then the member's name, followed by a rank. The rank 1, after his own name, might indicate his cultivation rank or level, but none of that mattered as much as one detail. The group owner was Sectmaster Tongtian of the Primordial World. Li Shan'e, rank 5. Chat group number 98 finally has a new member. You're Yue Ming, right? Welcome. Since you're a transmigrator, this group shouldn't be new to you. If you have any questions, ask away. Lu Ming, rank 3. The new member transmigrated to the Swallowed Star World, an elite great world, a record of a mortal's journey to immortality. Lu Ming, rank 1. What's enviable is that the human race in the Swallowed Star universe is united and the cultivation environment is excellent. Geniuses aren't suppressed. If you show talent, you'll get strong cultivation. It's nothing like the mortal world I went to. Resources there are monopolized by big sects. Loose cultivators have a hard time surviving. Zofan, rank 2. No matter how bad your world is, it can't be worse than mine. I'm constantly fighting eerie beasts. Without my golden finger, I don't know how many times I'd have died. Li Jing, rank 2. Can anything be more miserable than my situation? I transmigrated into the global martial arts world. The entire plot lasts only 4 short years. If I can't gather the strength to suppress the Heavenly Emperor before it ends, the world dies. And so do I. Ahem. By the way, Yue Ming, you're probably the most fortunate. Oh, I forgot to remind you, after joining the chat group, every member can claim an exclusive golden finger. Don't forget to claim yours. Yue Ming, rank 1. I can claim an exclusive golden finger? Thanks for the reminder. I'll claim it now. Yue Ming was pleasantly surprised. He hadn't expected any perks for joining. He claimed the golden finger eagerly. Congratulations on successfully claiming the golden finger law fusion device. As soon as he claimed it, all the information flooded into his mind. The law fusion device fused various laws. It ranked 373rd on the chat group's golden finger leaderboard. Out of millions of golden fingers, being 373rd was excellent. More importantly, the law fusion device was perfectly suited to the Swallowed Star world. In that world, the Tao of Fusion Law was one of the great paths to becoming a universe lord. With the law fusion device, Yue Ming's late-stage potential would increase tremendously. If he could get through the early stages smoothly, he could at least reach the Chaos Dominator level in the future. But the device offered little help in the early stages, possibly none at all. That both pleased and worried Yue Ming. If he couldn't comprehend the origin law, the law fusion device would be nothing but decoration. Yue Ming, rank 1. I've claimed my golden finger. I have another question. Do the worlds you transmigrated to have any treasures that can restore a limb? Right now, Yue Ming's top priority was healing his right leg. He couldn't think of any reliable method himself, so he shamelessly asked the group for help. He kept quiet about his golden finger. Such things were private, and people rarely shared those details. A record of a mortal's journey to immortality. Lu Ming, rank 1. Don't be so formal. Call us by our names. As for restricting treasures, they're not that rare. Many worlds have them. But even if we wanted to give you one, we probably couldn't. Check the chat group mall. You should find what you need there. Lu Ming, rank 3. Lu Ming's right. This chat group is limited. You can't live stream, you can't send red packets. Besides claiming a golden finger, the only real feature is the chat group mall. Rank 5. Lu Ming, watch your tongue. Though the sect master is usually in seclusion, who knows if he'll check the chat logs the next time he logs in. Lu Ming 3. Ahem, sect master, my mistake. Although the chat group only really has one feature, the mall carries all kinds of treasures. As long as you have points, you can buy almost anything there. Regarding points, besides the 100 points new members receive, the main way to earn more is by selling valuable items in the mall. Li Shane, rank 5. Occasionally, the chat group issues missions that allow teleportation to other worlds, but those missions are rare, once a century or so. Our chat group is young, less than 300 years old, and it's only released 2 missions. Swal Ming, rank 1. May I ask, our chat group number 98's owner is Sect Master Tongtian, one of the 3 pure ones of the primordial world, correct? Li Shan, rank 5. You understood correctly. The group owner is Saint Tongtian. He transcended the primordial world some time ago. He was born with rank 7 strength, advanced to rank 8 when he became a saint, and is now transcendent at rank 9. He's one of the high-level figures in the transmigrator lineage. Only transcendents can create chat groups, which is why chat group number 98 exists. Yue Ming, rank 1. The transmigrator lineage? Li Shan, rank 5. The transmigrator lineage is a force formed by transmigrators from across the heavens. Even compared to other heavens, our lineage ranks among the top, several rank 10 ancestors, and nearly 100 ninth-rank transcendents. The golden fingers we get here are casually crafted by those ancestors, small gifts to us juniors. Of course, the transmigrator lineage has enemies. The main god Space lineage and the myriad heavens Eerie race lineage are sworn foes. We also have allies like the myriad heavens Mall Alliance lineage. Many of the treasures in our chat group mall come from them. I once overheard the sect master mention a shop owner named Zhou in the Mall Alliance, apparently very powerful, ranked among the top 10 of the rank 10s across all heavens. Chapter 3. Gene Multiplier Increase. Yue Ming, rank 1. Although this might make me look ignorant, I still have to ask, how are the power ranks of the all heavens and myriad worlds divided? The power rank divisions are posted on the chat group's public screen. You can check them there. The group rules are also on that screen. Take a careful look. I'll log off for now and read the rules so I don't accidentally break any taboos. No problem. Log in whenever you have time. One reminder, time flows differently in each world. Time only synchronizes between worlds when everyone is logged into the chat group. Yue Ming exited the chat window and opened the chat group public screen. It contained a lot of information, mostly common knowledge about the all heavens and myriad worlds, including the division of power ranks. The chat group rules were few and relaxed. The power ranks, measured by destructive capability, were listed as 10 ranks above ordinary beings. Rank 1, initial contact with the supernatural system. Rank 2, can destroy mountains with a punch, level cities with a sword. Rank 3, can shatter mountains and rivers, overturn seas, annihilate a planet's surface. Rank 4, capable of severing stars with a wave and destroying planets in a blow. Rank 5, destroys entire star systems with every movement. Rank 6, can annihilate universes easily. Rank 7, multiversal, creation and destruction with a single thought. Rank 8, understands all things, indestructible through myriad calamities, untouched by karma. Heavenly Tao saints are included here. Rank 9, transcendence, free travel across the all heavens and myriad worlds. Characteristics include eternal verification and coexisting with the Tao. Rank 10, source of the great Tao, unknowable and ineffable, the peak existences. Classifying by destructive power made sense because cultivation systems differ across worlds. The lower ranks were easy enough for Yue Ming to grasp, but ranks 7 to 10 felt mysterious. From the chat group notes, Transmigrator Sect. Master Tongtian of the primordial world was born with rank 7 power, and later reached rank 8 by achieving sainthood through the Tao, so heavenly Tao saints equate to rank 8. Rank 9 transcendents could roam the all heavens and myriad worlds freely. Their traits resembled the legendary mythical Great Luo. Rank 10 were the progenitors who founded lineages like the transmigrator lineage, beings in a different league entirely. Yue Ming muttered to himself, envious. That Tong Qian was unbelievably lucky, born rank 7. A starting point like that beat countless others. He also noticed he was in chat group number 98, which implied groups 1 through 97 existed as well. Then he opened the chat group mall. He'd only been given 100 points upon joining, the usual starter grant for new transmigrators, many of whom arrived in desperate circumstances and often died before they could grow. The 100 points were seed funds to get through the early days. At the same time, Yue Ming remembered his golden finger and its attribute panel. He opened it. Swallowed Star, Yue Ming rank 1, fold-in finger, law fusion device points 100. He mentally clicked the folded rank and a more detailed translucent panel expanded. Rank, apprentice rank 4, rank 1. Realm, specialized swordsmanship, minute movement technique. Gene, 1x power output, 3x secret techniques, none. He started searching the mall for treasures that could accomplish limb rebirth. He had 3 short months before the Swallowed Star plot began, and getting the 30 billion needed for the Water of Life by normal means was basically impossible. Selling Mist Island's information was a last resort he didn't want to take. The search returned hundreds of thousands of items. Fountain of Life, condensed ancient life energy from a god tomb world. Purple Sun Spirit Fruit from the primordial world takes millennia to mature and contains boundless life power. Life Tree Sap, residual sap from a life tree's nirvana in the eternal world, and many more. Most were far beyond his funds. He refined the search to items under 100 points that could provide limb rebirth. A new list appeared. Millennium Blood Fruit from the Gourd Cultivation world recasts the physical body and forges a perfect Tao foundation. Foul Blood, remnant of an eerie entity, grants special abilities with mutation risk. Dragon Crystal Rice, spiritual rice mutated by dragon blood, rich in life energy, and dozens more. Many cost only 1 or 2 points. Limb rebirth was often just a secondary effect. The most expensive was the Millennium Blood Fruit at 80 points. Its description claimed it could forge a perfect Tao foundation. Yue Ming hesitated, then purchased it. Deducting 80 points. He'd leave 20 points, enough, he hoped, to push for a breakthrough to the planetary level if needed. He didn't plan to become a conventional cultivator in the Swallowed Star world, but the Millennium Blood Fruit's perfect Tao foundation sounded like a physical body modification that might increase his gene multiplier. That potential made it worth the cost. The fruit was bright red, fist-sized, and fragrant. He bit into it. The pulp melted and surged through his body as life energy. The fruit's vitality integrated into every cell and began reshaping him. It didn't hurt. If anything, the sensation was like a pleasant massage. He felt a warm restructuring of his limbs and bones, and his right leg, which had been numb, gradually came back to full feeling. The physical changes accelerated, and Yue Ming felt a clear qualitative leap in his genes. When he opened his attribute panel again, the changes were obvious. Rank, apprentice rank 7, rank 1. Realm, specialized swordsmanship, minute movement technique. Gene, 3x power output, 3x secret techniques, none. The Millennium Blood Fruit had done more than heal him. His rank had jumped to apprentice rank 7 within rank 1, and his gene multiplier had increased from 1x to 3x. He felt stronger than an ordinary elementary god of war. His subjective strength far exceeded the standard 64,000 to 128,000 kilogram range for that tier. He ran the gene cultivation technique out of habit. His absorption rate of universe energy had multiplied, where before his body saturated after 2 hours of cultivation per day, he could now cultivate 5 or 6 hours before hitting saturation. The perfect Tao foundation was indeed a physical modification, one that made his body far more suitable for longer, faster gene cultivation. Chapter 4. Peak High-Level God of War. Bang! Yue Ming smashed the plaster cast on his right leg, stood and stretched. Confidence flooded him. With the chat group and the law fusion device, he could rise to the peak of the Swallowed Star universe. Even if he had to go through reincarnation and end up on the origin continent later, the law fusion device would guarantee him at least a chaos dominator, maybe even a god king. All he knew for sure was that the device could fuse laws. To become a chaos dominator, you had to fuse the 10 great laws back into the chaos law. Mastering chaos was what made a chaos dominator. With the device's fusion capability, breaking into chaos dominator territory would be no great challenge for him. I still have 20 points. I can boost my strength. The chat group mall offered endless treasures, almost anything imaginable. Items like spirit grasses and spirit woods were plentiful and cheap. 1 point could buy several plants. That also made points precious and showed how rare things like Millennium Bloodfruit really were. Yue Ming didn't regret the 80 points he'd spent to triple his gene multiple. Using the mall's search, he found dozens of cheap items with effects similar to spirit plants and finally chose something called the Heart of the Kwai Tree. Buy 2 Hearts of the Kwai Tree. Deduct 1 point. 2 crystal tree hearts materialized in his hand. The Heart of the Kwai Tree contained massive life energy, similar in effect to spirit grasses and woods. Yue Ming worried, briefly, that the Great Axe founder might somehow travel back to Earth and see him buying things. But he couldn't avoid eating the hearts. He couldn't just stop living out of paranoia. At worst, he'd claim he'd stumbled into a mysterious opportunity. After all, Earth had already been destroyed twice and left behind legacy opportunities. Besides, the Great Axe founder, the universe's strongest, wouldn't care about a junior's small possessions. He might only smile and say, "This kid gets lucky." The chat group's shielding blocked detection by anyone below 9th rank Transcendent, so his purchases were safe. It took Yue Ming 2 hours to refine and absorb the 2 Hearts of the Kwai Tree, which pushed him to the peak of a mid-level god of war. Normally, 2 hearts would have been enough to reach the peak of a high-level god of war with some surplus, but his triple gene multiple meant he needed 3 times the energy for the same increase. He ended up spending another 2 points to buy 4 more hearts from the mall. After refining those, his strength finally climbed to the peak of a high-level god of war. I still have 17 points left. He decided to save the remaining points for later. First, he needed to get used to his new strength. My power exertion multiplier is a bit low, he thought. A typical peak high-level god of war averaged 4 to 5 times power exertion. Yue Ming only had 3 times. That shortfall mattered. A peak high-level god of war's base strength might be 500,000 kilograms. A difference of 2 multipliers is 1,000,000 kilograms, a huge gap. His previous life's body had been average in aptitude, but excellent at comprehension, which let it reach 3 times power exertion as an elementary war general and cultivate the Shadow Stream sword technique to perfection. Many elementary gods of war weren't as skilled as his predecessor, but the Shadow Stream sword technique was only an A-rank sword technique and capped at 3 times power exertion. Yue Ming needed a new cultivation method, or perhaps to craft his own sword technique. Creating a technique wouldn't come out of nowhere. He would need reference manuals. On Earth within the Swallowed Star, most martial artists favored saber techniques, then spear. Swords were rare. Yue Ming decided a trip to the wilderness area was in order. The wilderness area would let him test and adapt to his increased strength through real combat. Even though he'd inherited memories and skills from his predecessor, he'd been an ordinary person before transmigrating and still needed time to adapt. Hunting monsters there would also earn money. He'd need funds to buy top-tier sword manuals or to support the long work of creating a technique. If he couldn't craft one right away, he could always find better techniques once he reached the universe later. With his current strength, as long as he avoided king-level monsters, he could roam the wilderness area freely. If only he had the Black God suit. With that armor, he'd even dare take on king-level beasts. Now at peak high-level god of war, and with a 3 times gene, his base strength was 1,500,000 kilograms. At 3 times power exertion, that became 4,500,000 kilograms, already beyond the base of a planetary level 1, 2,000,000 kilograms. Planetary-level artists typically had 5 times or more power exertion, though, so overall he still trailed them. It irked him that Ruin Number 9 was controlled by the Dojo of Limits. The Black God suit could only be obtained there. If he were willing to join the dojo, his current strength would make him a welcome recruit, and he could easily apply for a chance to enter the ruin. He had no intention of joining any organization, however. He preferred to be a free martial artist. He had nothing he lacked for now. His strength was at the peak high-level god of war, and once he got comfortable with it, he could break through to planetary level. Resources on Earth were sparse. Barring a miracle, breaking through to astral rank here would take decades or even a century for someone of average aptitude. Slowly absorbing universe energy wasn't an appealing option. Yue Ming decided to run a small experiment. He listed the Shadow Stream Sword technique on the chat group mall. Sell Shadow Stream Sword technique. Congratulations, you have gained 0.016 points. He'd expected more. The technique's low rank meant it fetched only a tiny amount. The mall sold peerless manuals too, top cultivation methods of rank 7 or 8, like the 9 Revolutions Xuan Gong from the Primordial World or the Immortal Emperor Law from the Xuanhuan World. Those went for hundreds of billions of points. He checked the buy listing. How many points to buy the Shadow Stream Sword technique? Are you sure you want to spend 0.020 points to buy the Shadow Stream Sword technique? He didn't buy it. The mall's buy price was 0.020 points. He had sold for 0.016. The chat group mall took a 20% cut, modest, even conscientious. The high-level ancestors and 9th-ranked transcendents probably didn't care about such small change. They weren't trying to squeeze juniors dry. After browsing the mall a little more, Yue Ming closed the chat group. He ran some exercises in his room to get used to his new power, then put on his combat suit, grabbed his weapon, and set off for the wilderness area. Chapter 5. Wilderness Slaughter. The gear my predecessor bought was too low grade, only fit for warlord-level fighters. For a god of war-level martial artist, it's almost useless. Yue Ming's equipment was practically new. His predecessor hadn't worn it much. It was meant to last several years, perhaps until reaching advanced warlord. But Yue Ming was now a peak high-level war god, so the set was already underpowered. If he met a lord-level monster, his weapon might not even pierce its defenses. It couldn't be helped. His predecessor hadn't left much money. Even cheap high-level war god gear cost tens of billions. Good sets ran into the hundreds. Yue Ming couldn't afford to replace it. He checked the combat comms watch and opened the predecessor's account. Only 120 million credits. For someone who had only recently reached warlord level, 100 million was respectable. Most martial artists who flaunted hundreds of billions were god of war level and above. Ordinary warriors and warlords weren't actually that rich. Departing for the wilderness area. Night didn't stop travel. Entries into the wilderness lasted weeks, so leaving at night or during the day made little difference. Many preferred night departures, cooler travel, and less risk of dying under the noon sun. A supply base sat a few hundred miles north of Jiangnan Base City, a military camp where martial artists resupplied before heading into the wild. Yue Ming planned to pick up essentials there. Before he could enter the base, a group blocked his path. Yue Ming, a burly man called out. 3 men and 2 women followed, all armed. They looked like they were heading into the wilderness too. Oh, Captain Li. Yue Ming recognized them. The burly man was Li Damon, captain of the Blade Squad, a peak intermediate warlord. The others were his squad members. The Blade Squad had worked with the predecessor's Maple Fire Squad several times. I didn't expect to meet you here, Li said. 2 months ago, your Maple Fire Squad ran into an advanced beast general and took heavy losses. I heard only you and Old Liu escaped, and both of you were badly hurt. You heard right. Yue Ming kept his tone light. Old Liu and I were lucky to get out. We were unlucky, Li said with a grim chuckle. We ran into a lion mastiff beast that was on the verge of breaking through to Lord level. Our squad nearly got wiped. Only Liu Gei and I survived. Liu lost an arm, and I had a comminuted fracture in my right leg. Yue Ming felt a stab of irritation at the mention of his injury. He would have liked to keep the fracture quiet, but word had spread. Because of those wounds, the RH Alliance had canceled his predecessor's contract. A quick inquiry would reveal the truth. What a pity about old Liu, Li continued. He was about to reach advanced warlord and might have broken through to god of war someday. I heard the RH Alliance cut ties with you, but you don't look that badly hurt now. A friend helped me buy a water of life, Yue Ming said, but I'm deep in debt because of it. The 5 members exchanged looks. Lending someone 2 or 300 billion for a water of life meant the lender had to be of extraordinary status, likely a god of war. When had Yue Ming known someone like that? They didn't press. The Blade Squad and the Maple Fire Squad were on good terms, but not close enough to demand explanations. Since you're no longer tied to the RH Alliance, you should be free, Li said. Consider joining our Thunder Martial Arts Hall. Their benefits are excellent. I don't have plans right now, Yue Ming replied. I'll rest and think it over. If I decide to join a force, I'll keep Captain Li in mind. He didn't intend to join any group at the moment, but he wasn't rude. After a few minutes of small talk, they parted and Yue Ming entered the supply base. He bought a month's worth of food and water, then set out for the wilderness. The wilderness area was everything outside the base cities: abandoned towns, suburbs, mountains, forests, lakes, any land not part of the controlled cities. To ordinary city dwellers, it was a forbidden land of monsters and death. It'll take about 5 days to reach City 003. Yue Ming's destination was City 03, Madu City, once one of China's economic centers before the Great Nirvana. It was one of the most dangerous places in Asia: coastal ruins with hordes of marine predators, a dense variety of buildings that attracted countless monsters. Lord-level monsters were common there. Several king-level beasts were entrenched inside. Only warlord-level squads dared approach, and they usually stayed on the outskirts. Venturing deeper without a god of war was suicide. Traveling along the highway, Yue Ming encountered several monsters over a few hundred miles. Most were warrior level. He dispatched them with ease. Initially squeamish about blood and gore, after days of fighting, the former otaku who wouldn't hurt a chicken had begun to harden. Finally, City 003. He arrived, but didn't plan to go deep. He wanted to practice against warlord-level monsters in the periphery. There's an advanced beast general ahead. Looks like a black-striped poisonous python. An abandoned residential building, its walls cloaked in moss and vines, rose nearby. On its roof, a giant python coiled, thick as a human waist and over 20 meters long. Black stripes ran along its length. At the front, the snake split into 2 triangular heads, each forehead raised slightly. From the predecessor's memories, Yue Ming recognized it instantly: a black-striped poisonous python. Chapter 6: Underground Alliance. This black-striped poisonous python is about to break through to Lord level. The materials from its body should fetch 400 to 500 million Huaxia coins. Yue Ming didn't hesitate. He drew the battle sword at his waist and launched himself into the air. The ground cracked beneath his feet as he crossed dozens of meters and landed on the rooftop with a thunderous crash. 2 massive snakeheads, each with icy, predatory eyes, turned to watch him. The black-striped poisonous python coiled and writhed, its neck arched high, triangular heads constantly flicking forked tongues. The moment Yue Ming hit the roof, it struck. One head lunged to bite while the other sprayed a spray of deep green venom. Despite its size, the python moved with terrifying speed. Worse still was the venom, an extreme neurotoxin that even war god-rank martial artists avoided. Seeking death, Yue Ming thought, calm as ever. Compared to the python, his reflexes and speed as a peak high-level war god were far superior. As the snake closed, he shifted his body, sidestepping just enough. His sword flashed out, and in an instant the blade pierced a snake eye. Before it could recover, he retreated 100 meters. The python roared in fury, driven mad by the injury. It thrashed, and the force made the whole building tremble as if it might collapse. Its tail, thick as a man's waist, lashed like a whip with bone-shattering power, snapping at Yue Ming with lightning speed. Yue Ming watched its movements closely and dodged sideways, letting the tail sweep past. His sword followed, a cold afterimage. The python's iron-hard scales split as if made of paper. One head was severed, blood spraying like a fountain. Before it could mount a dying counterattack, he struck again and cut off the second head. The enormous body collapsed to the roof with a thud. Yue Ming methodically began to carve the carcass. The beast was too large to carry whole, so he took the most valuable parts, the snake gall, the snake eyes, the venom sac, and left the rest. Over the next 10 days, Yue Ming hunted frantically in the outskirts of City 003, killing hundreds of monsters. In that time, he encountered 6 Lord-level creatures, including one high-level Lord. That one cost him dearly. His equipment was poor and could not reliably breach Lord-level defenses, so killing a high-level Lord without proper gear was a brutal test. Fortunately, as a peak high-level war god with 3x genes and 3x power exertion, his overwhelming strength let him prevail. Had he been any other peak high-level war god without equipment, he might not have survived. After nearly half a month of non-stop fighting, Yue Ming stood on a dusty, ruined residential building and looked down. Blood dried on the streets below, scattered bones and remains marking where he had been. He had adapted completely to life in the wilderness area. His backpack was stuffed with materials from high-level beast generals and above, an estimated worth of at least 40 billion Huaxia coins. He had to return and process them. He couldn't carry more. Rank, Apprentice 9th rank, 1st rank. Realms, Perfection sword technique, Perfect movement technique. Genes, 3x power exertion. 3x secret techniques, none. Yue Ming also realized his comprehension ability had improved dramatically. In less than half a month, both his sword and movement techniques had broken through. He suspected this sudden aptitude came from the fusion of 2 souls during his transmigration. His predecessor had possessed an exceptional comprehension aptitude as well, enough to push the Shadow Stream sword technique to its peak and reach 3x power exertion at only elementary war general strength. It took him about 6 days to arrive back at Jiangnan Base City, slowed by the heavy haul. He went straight to the Underground Alliance, a black market-like place, and sought a buyer with a reliable reputation. The advantage of this buyer was discretion. No questions about identity or material origin. The risk was the usual black market risk of being cheated. Still, the deal went smoothly. 67 sets of high-level beast general materials worth 20.7 billion, 5 sets of elementary lord-level materials worth 6.3 billion, and the high-level lord materials worth 15 billion. Total 42 billion. Transfer the money to my anonymous account at Swiss International Bank, Yue Ming instructed. After the transaction cleared, he left the Underground Alliance and checked that no one was following him. He felt the counterparty had been principled enough. He could do business with them again. He wasn't afraid of being double-crossed. At his current strength, he was effectively invincible below planetary level, but he had no intention of returning to South Shore Community. That place had only been where his predecessor recovered temporarily. With funds now secure, Yue Ming booked a decent hotel, took a long bath, and finally slept. After half a month without proper rest, he slept a full day and night. When he woke, it was already the evening of the 2nd day. He first opened his combat comms watch and transferred the money from the anonymous account into his personal account. Then, he made anonymous transfers, 1 billion to the orphanage where his predecessor had grown up, repayment for raising him, and 1 billion to each household of his predecessor's deceased teammates, enough to secure a comfortable life for their orphans. After arranging these payments, a strange lightness filled him. An invisible weight that had pressed on his shoulders seemed to lift all at once. His body and mind relaxed. Let the past be the past. Chapter 7. A Drop in the Ocean. 1,500 2,007 kilograms. 1,500 3,402 kilograms. 1,500 2,800 kilograms. The hotel had a private training room. Yue Ming was testing his punching power. Each strike sent a sonic boom through the air like a fired cannonball, battering the punching bag on the force testing rig. The bag shuddered violently and the display rolled out numbers. A normal peak high-level war god registered around 500,000 kilograms of force. Yue Ming's output climbed to 1,500,000 kilograms. That was the effect of his triple gene trait. Every aspect of his physical quality was roughly 3 times that of an ordinary person. Boom. 4,510,750 kilograms. Yue Ming pushed off with his feet, channeling power up from his soles through his waist and hips. His entire body rippled like water as he activated 4 layers of concealed energy. His fist, accompanied by a thunderous crack, smashed into the bag. Under the Shadow Stream sword technique's triple force method, he managed to marshal 4,500,000 kilograms of impact. Unfortunately, the Shadow Stream sword technique was too low in rank. It could only tap triple force at most. It was clear that replacing his sword technique was becoming urgent. He left the training room and went to the audiovisual suite. After fingerprint and facial recognition verification, he logged into the martial arts marketplace, the HR Alliance platform. There were many such platforms on Earth, but most required specific affiliations. Martial artists from the Dojo of Limits could only enter the Home of Limits, for example. The HR Alliance platform, however, was open to all registered martial artists. Unlike the Home of Limits, where items could be bought at half price with contribution points, everything on HR Alliance was sold at full price. Yue Ming settled back on the sofa with a cup of hot tea and searched for sword technique manuals on the large wall screen. Titles scrolled past: Army Breaker Killing Sword, SS rank, 40 billion Huaxia coins; Flowing Cloud Sword Technique, SS rank, 35 billion; Blood Kill Sword Technique, SS rank, 34 billion. He found that SS rank was the highest level available on Earth. Only two true ultimate manuals were known: World Annihilation and the 9-layer Thunder Saber. Each manual had pictures and detailed descriptions. After weighing his options, he chose the Blood Kill Sword technique. It felt the most suitable. Its maximum force multiplier went as high as 5 times. He confirmed the purchase. 34 billion Huaxia coins were deducted in an instant. Yue Ming stared at the transaction. That 40-some billion he'd just acquired was nearly gone before it warmed the account. He was left with just over 2 billion. He had once considered crafting his own sword technique, but now that seemed impractical. A homemade technique would rank low and waste precious early cultivation time. Better to focus on breaking through to the planetary level and comprehending domain and origin law. The broad road lay there. Still, the Blood Kill Sword technique had a shortcoming. It didn't help much with comprehending concept. He needed a second sword technique to assist with that. On Swallowed Star Earth, most cultivation techniques emphasized raw force and were weak at guiding concept comprehension. Yue Ming opened the chat group, entered the chat group mall, and searched for another sword manual. The chat group mall contained countless techniques, millions of them, but Yue Ming only had 17 points, so top-tier manuals were out of reach. He eventually settled on a manual called A Drop in the Ocean. A Drop in the Ocean came from the comprehensive martial world, a peerless sword technique created by the heavenly absolute swordsman after comprehending the concept of a mayfly in the universe, a drop in the ocean. The manual cost 5 points. After purchase, the chat group infused its contents into his mind, allowing Yue Ming to grasp the basics immediately, one of the chat group mall's conveniences. True mastery still required personal effort, but the infusion gave a head start. Back in the training room, Yue Ming began practicing A Drop in the Ocean. Unlike the Earth techniques that emphasized amplitude of force, this set had little force fluctuation. Every posture and movement embedded a unique concept useful for comprehension. It suited him perfectly. About 2 hours later, the express delivery arrived with the Blood Kill Sword technique. The courier handed over a sealed alloy box. Yue Ming ran his finger across the lid. Beep, fingerprint verification passed. A synthetic voice announced as the box opened. Inside lay a thin manual, about a centimeter thick, and 2 data discs, the Blood Kill Sword technique. The courier waited as Yue Ming inspected them. Please open it and confirm, then sign, the courier said. You should be aware of the taboos after purchasing a secret manual. The copyright belongs to the creator. The buyer has the right to learn, but not to transmit. Copying, private sale, or teaching the manual is strictly forbidden. Violators will be hunted down by the combined forces of the Dojo of Limits, Thunder Martial Arts Hall, the Underground Alliance, and the government army. I understand the rules, Yue Ming replied. He had bought manuals before and knew the law. After he signed and checked the contents, the courier left. For the next half-month, Yue Ming went into near seclusion, cultivating both techniques. The Blood Kill Sword technique proved straightforward. In less than a week, he had perfected it, pushing his personal force up to the 5-fold mark. A Drop in the Ocean was tougher. He reached major achievement with it, but he hovered frustratingly close to grasping concept, just a hair's breadth away. It was already May. The college entrance exams were in a month, and the swallowed star plot was about to begin. It was time to break through to planetary level. Yue Ming remembered the timeline of Luo Feng. His college entrance exam had been in June. Luo Feng had fainted during the test and failed, then passed the quasi-martial artist assessment and only became a full martial artist after the combat assessment in August. Chapter 8. Breakthrough to planetary level. Purchase 3 dragon crystal rice. 6 points deducted. After logging into the chat group mall, Yue Ming searched for dragon crystal rice and bought 3 grains. He had decided this long ago. There were many treasures in the mall that could help one break through to the planetary level, but the most cost-effective was undoubtedly dragon crystal rice. According to its origin description, this rice came from the Dragon Clan world, a special spiritual grain tainted by dragon blood and mutated, filled with immense life energy. It was similar to the wood-tooth crystals from the swallowed star world, but the energy in dragon crystal rice was purer. Normally, 1 grain would suffice to rise to the planetary level. Yue Ming, however, had a 3x gene multiple. His physical qualities across the board were 3 times those of an ordinary person, and the energy he needed to break through was correspondingly greater. 3 grains should be enough. Let's begin the breakthrough. Boom. The moment he consumed the grains, they transformed into a vast surge of life energy. Yue Ming felt his dantian erupt, as if Pangu had split heaven and earth. Genetic origin energy within him ran rampant, contracting and gathering relentlessly into his dantian. His consciousness trembled. As the origin energy compressed to its limit, a miniature planet was born in his dantian, rotating and emitting strange fluctuations. Every part of Yue Ming's body, bones, skin, meridians, internal organs, underwent rapid, radical changes. It was an ultimate transformation, as though his bones shattered and were reassembled anew. His body grew continuously stronger. Perhaps because of his 3x gene multiple, his breakthrough to the planetary level was far more extreme than that of an ordinary martial artist, and the gains from the transformation were naturally greater. The process lasted 2 full hours before it finally subsided. What special ability will I awaken after this? When a martial artist reaches the planetary level, they naturally awaken a special ability. In the universe's classification, special abilities mostly fall into 8 types: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, and light. But the swallowed star world actually recognizes 10 great origin laws. Those 8 are lower tier. Time and space are higher tier laws. The higher tier laws can give birth to special abilities too, but awakening time or space is exceedingly rare. It's a space-type ability, space control. Yue Ming didn't expect his luck to be that good. He had awakened space control, a top-tier ability within the space category. This would greatly assist his future comprehension of the space origin law. Ever since obtaining the law fusion device, Yue Ming had been considering his cultivation path, but he had delayed any decision because he did not know which law he would comprehend. Now that he had awakened space control, his future would most likely revolve around a space-type fusion law. With the law fusion device, he would face almost no bottleneck in breaking through to Universe Lord, so he had no reason to suppress his realm. Others might spend thousands or tens of thousands of years at the Universe rank and hundreds of thousands at the World Lord rank to accumulate a solid foundation. Yue Ming would not. He also wouldn't follow Luo Feng's path of creating ultimate secret techniques at a low realm. Crafting cross-rank secret techniques is brutally difficult. It requires terrifying comprehension ability, and more importantly, it wastes enormous amounts of time. That time would be better spent breaking to a higher realm. While cross-rank secret techniques can grant the ability to fight across ranks, simply holding a higher realm to suppress others is also very effective. Creating techniques suitable to one's current realm is easy. Insisting on cross-rank power feels like an inefficient gamble, and wasting tremendous time doesn't even guarantee success. Not everyone is a Luo Feng. Luo Feng's situation was unusual. Without crafting ultimate secret techniques, he couldn't break his life core, and therefore couldn't reach Undying. Everyone's path is different. For Yue Ming, rapid growth and a fast breakthrough to Universe Lord were essential. The universe contained countless crises and peak enemy races. Becoming strong quickly was necessary for survival. To be assassinated by an alien race while still weak would be a tragic collapse of everything one had built. To achieve the fastest breakthrough to Universe Lord, Yue Ming decided not to study too many laws. Even though the World Lord rank was the easiest stage to comprehend laws, he planned to master only one lower-tier law and one higher-tier law. Only after breaking through to Universe Lord via fusion law would he allow himself to explore other directions. By then, he would have the time to craft ultimate secret techniques or comprehend additional laws. Even a slightly slower pace of comprehension wouldn't matter. The only real difficulty was the speed of comprehension. If origin laws were easy to grasp, there wouldn't be so many undying and venerables stuck at bottlenecks for billions of years, unable to break through. Yue Ming was confident, though. He had achieved perfection in the blood-kill sword art in less than a week, perhaps a result of his comprehension having been transformed by the fusion of two souls during his transmigration. If not top tier, his comprehension ability was at least above average. And Yue Ming's greatest confidence lay in the chat group. The mall held endless treasures. There would certainly be many items to help him comprehend laws. With that in mind, he logged into the chat group to ask the others. When he opened the chat, only 2 people were online in the member list. Time flowed differently in each world. Just over a month had passed in the swallowed star world. How much time had passed in other worlds? Fif is online. What have you been busy with lately? You haven't been online for half a year. Come online more often and chat with me. I'm bored being alone. Only a month has passed here. Lishan 5th rank. Is the time flow really that different? Logically, the rank of the swallowed star world is similar to the coiling dragon world. Worlds of the same rank should have similar time flow. Yue Ming, 1st rank. I'm not sure. Yue Ming noticed that even after breaking through to the planetary level, his chat group rank remained 1st rank. According to the rank classifications across the myriad heavens, a 2nd rank required the power to shatter mountains with a punch and destroy cities with a sword, a level Yue Ming had not yet reached. Chapter 9, Divinity. 4th rank. Do you think everyone is like you, idle all day with no pressure to survive? We work hard to cultivate precisely so we can survive. In the God Tomb world I transmigrated to, the heavenly Tao will destroy the world in the future. In the global martial arts world Li Jing transmigrated to, the heavenly emperor will also destroy the world. Everyone else faces immense survival pressure. We don't even have time to cultivate properly. How could we have time to chat here? Liu Shanshan and Li Jing had indeed been unlucky. Both of the worlds they had transmigrated into were destined to be destroyed. If they didn't work hard to cultivate, they would almost certainly be wiped out along with their worlds. In the God Tomb world in particular, in the original timeline, almost every living thing except the protagonist Chen Nan would be annihilated. Transmigrating to such a place naturally brought enormous pressure. Li Shanhe. Ha ha ha, who told you I'm under pressure? I'm a heaven-defying genius. Grand Mist begged me to take him as my master. With Grand Mist backing me, I really have no survival worries in the coiling dragon world. With Grand Mist and my golden finger, reaching 7th rank in the future is nothing. Boast all you want, who almost died right after transmigrating. If Sectmaster Tong Tian hadn't stepped in for someone out of face as an alumnus, that someone would have been annihilated by Grand Mist long ago. Yue Ming, having a big shot like Grand Mist backing you? Guaranteed to reach 7th rank in the future? My envy might split me in two. Some people are born in Rome, others are born to be beasts of burden. And you and Sectmaster Tongtian are even alumni? Cough. Cough. It might have been a coincidence. We didn't know each other before transmigrating. But yes, we're technically alumni. Sectmaster Tongtian is my senior. Even more coincidentally, we're from the same hometown, so he's taken good care of me. Yue Ming burned with envy. In the coiling dragon world, with Grand Mist as a backer, Li Shanhe faced almost no survival pressure and had a bright future. He could at least reach 7th rank, and with luck, even the 8th. In the chat group, he even had Sectmaster Tongtian, a ninth-rank transcendent and a high-ranking member of the transmigrator lineage on his side. Li Shane, Shanshan, don't be so pessimistic. If there's really no other way, you can ask Sectmaster Tongqian for help. It's just an evil heavenly Tao. Sectmaster Tongqian could destroy it with a flick of his hand. No need to stress so much. Of course, I know asking Sectmaster Tongtian could easily solve the evil heavenly Tao, but the cost would be too high. I can't afford that many origin points. Then just owe him for now. Sectmaster Tongqian is reasonable. He won't watch you die. I'll put in a good word when the time comes. We'll see. The timeline I transmigrated to is very early, tens of thousands of years before the heavenly Tao destroys the world. I want to try my best first. If I can solve it myself, I'll do it myself. Liu Shanshan didn't want to call on Sectmaster Tongtian unless absolutely necessary. According to the chat group's rules, asking a ninth-rank transcendent for help would cost hundreds of millions of origin points, and origin points were rare and precious. Everyone knows that in the Swallowed Star world, cultivation follows two paths, law and divine body. I plan to take the law path. Are there any treasures in the chat group's mall that could help me comprehend law? There are many treasures in the mall for comprehending law, but the most effective is undoubtedly divinity. Divinity forms from the condensation and evolution of law. Both the Coiling Dragon world and the God Tomb world have divinities. Unfortunately, the chat group doesn't have a red packet function, or I'd send you a bunch. Since you're just starting to comprehend law, a low-level divinity will be enough, and those are cheap. Search them all, and you'll see. Liu Shanshan, 4th rank. Before transmigrating, I read a lot of novels, mostly female-oriented ones, but the Swallowed Star novels were very popular back then, so I read them out of curiosity. If I remember correctly, to break through to Universe Lord, you need to comprehend the law of space and time, right? Normally, breaking through to Universe Lord does require comprehending the laws of time and space, but I plan to follow a fusion law path. If everything goes well, it should be a space-based fusion. Yue Ming recalled that the Coiling Dragon world seemed to have only the 7 major laws: water, fire, wind, earth, thunder, light, and darkness, plus the 4 great rules of destruction, death, life, and fate. There were no time or space laws there, and naturally no divinities of time or space. The God Tomb world, by contrast, had a diverse cultivation system, immortal cultivation, martial artists, magic, battle chi, and more, each flourishing in its own way. Any system, when cultivated to its extreme, could become immensely powerful. Yue Ming remembered that in the original work, there was a great god of time and space who cultivated the Tao of time and space. Coiling, 5th rank. Points are nothing. You've just joined the chat group, so you don't have many points yet. After a while, you'll understand. We have so many points, we can't even spend them all. What's truly precious are origin points, the real currency of the heavens. Do you know how many points I have now? 9,000 trillion. Holy crap, are chat group points that worthless? And what are origin points? How do you get them? The really good things in the mall can't be bought with points. Without origin points, you can't even search for them. Treasures purchasable with points are all below 7th rank. Treasures at 7th rank and above must be bought with origin points. Origin points are actually world origin. The origin contained in a minor 1,000 worlds is roughly equal to 1 origin point. Yue Ming, 1st rank. Only origin points can buy treasures above 7th rank? But aren't there lots of 7th and 8th rank cultivation techniques in the mall? Are you stupid? Cultivation techniques are cheap. They can be copied countless times, and selling them costs almost nothing, unlike consumable treasures. Cultivation techniques are the cheapest things in the mall. Besides, the high-ranking members of the transmigrator lineage want to rapidly strengthen our ranks, so they don't restrict cultivation techniques. But cultivation techniques can at most help you break into the 8th rank. To reach 9th rank and become a transcendent, it's no longer a matter of cultivation technique. Yue Ming had thought points were precious. Now he realized points were the currency of the newbie village. Origin points were the true heavenly currency, and the origin contained in a minor thousand worlds being worth a single origin point. That was simply outrageous. Chapter 10, Origin Point. Thinking about it, it actually made sense. Currency in the swallowed star world had exchange rates that could easily reach trillions to one. Low-level treasures were useless to high-level cultivators, so only high-level treasures kept climbing in value. The ultimate treasures in the swallowed star world could be exchanged for massive amounts of points or Hun Yuan units, but points and Hun Yuan units could never be used to buy back ultimate treasures. That was also why the chat group limited points to buying only treasures below rank 7. It was like the Virtual Universe Corporation. Clearing the heavenly bridge rewarded points, essentially handing them out to cultivate the human race's promising youths. The transmigrator lineage had created the chat group for the same reason, to train the next generation and strengthen their own ranks. Their stated goals were basically identical. The same applied to cultivation techniques. There were countless techniques in the Virtual Universe Corporation. They were precious, but with enough points, any human race genius could learn any technique without restriction. Those techniques might cost hundreds of billions of points on paper, but what were hundreds of billions to a universe lord? To them, points were meaningless. It was like giving things away. The chat group's mall worked the same way. Points were worthless to its high-level members, so rank 7 and 8 techniques were practically sold at bargain prices. In that respect, the chat group and the human race were very similar. Rank 1. Since you've all read the Swallowed Star novel, you know the plot, right? Do I have any chance of getting origin points?
Liu Shanshan.
Rank 4. Easy. When your strength is high enough, destroy a primordial universe. The primordial universe is small, but destroying one should net you an origin point. Yue Ming. Isn't the Swallowed Star world a top-tier great world? The whole primordial universe is only worth one origin point? Rank 5. Don't get ahead of yourself. The Swallowed Star world is a top-tier great world if you mean the entire primal chaos space. The universe C you're in is just one of the 3,000-dimensional universes. Only when you include the origin continent does it count as a complete source world. There are countless such source worlds in primal chaos space. In the all heavens and myriad worlds, it's barely equivalent to a middle thousand worlds. If you want origin points, wait until you become a transcendent of a source world. Liu Shanshan, rank 4. Li Shanhei's right. Stop aiming so high. Cultivate honestly. Right now, your most important job is to find a way to get lots of points. Points might be worthless to the high-ups, but for you in the early stages, they're vital. Only with many points can you grow fast. Li Shan, rank 5. Actually, it's not just you who wants origin points. Who wouldn't? They're incredibly rare. I collect Grand Miss Spiritual Chi in the Grand Miss space. It takes about 10,000 years to exchange for one origin point. Do you know why Shanshan hesitates to ask the cult master to intervene unless it's absolutely necessary? Because according to the chat group rules, asking a transcendent to act costs at least 100 million origin points. Yue Ming, rank 1. All right, I was aiming too high. I'm going to the chat group mall to look at godheads now. I might not have much time to chat over the next few years. The Swallowed Star plot is starting, and I have to seize every moment to cultivate. I must not only take part in the peak genius battle, I must earn a good ranking. Only by showing real talent can I attract strong backing from the human race and rise fast in the Swallowed Star world. Li Shan, rank 5. Go for it. Yue Ming closed the chat and opened the chat group mall, using the search function to look for godheads. Thousands appeared in the results, from high-level godheads to broken low-level ones, all available for purchase. But even the lowest broken low-level godheads cost hundreds of millions of points. A complete low-level godhead, 1 billion points. Complete mid-level godhead, 10 trillion points. Complete high-level godhead, 10 quintillion points. They were astronomical prices, but he had to buy one. If understanding a law was the equivalent of a college entrance exam, A godhead was the standard answer sheet. Without it, you studied and solved problems slowly, often making mistakes. With a godhead guiding his comprehension of the origin law, it would be like copying the perfect solution. Who wouldn't copy homework? So godheads had to be bought, even if he had to give everything up or use tricks to gather the points. This made Yue Ming even more eager to join one of the human race's 5 major factions. Only by joining one could he hope to acquire a steady stream of cultivation resources. But first, he needed to scrounge up resources on Earth to sell in the chat group more points. He needed to buy at least 2 low-level godheads. That way, before the peak genius battle, he could be virtually certain of comprehending the origin law and, with the law fusion device, begin the path of fusion law. In the original story, Primordial Chaos City, Lord's emphasis on fusion law gave Luo Feng 3,000 years to test entering the first layer of fusion law. Luo Feng used a divine beast statue to complete that first layer in 800 years, which made Primordial Chaos City Lord laugh and accept him as his 32nd personal disciple. If Yue Ming could step onto the fusion law path during the peak genius battle, he would certainly alarm the high-level human race members. Maybe a universe lord would accept him as a personal disciple immediately. That would be a true step to the heavens. If he had a choice, though, he'd rather not become Primordial Chaos City Lord's disciple. Primordial Chaos City Lord was too just and stingy with material rewards. It would be better to find a wealthy, generous master. It's already 2056. According to the Swallowed Star timeline, the peak genius battle is in 2066. That's only 10 years. He thought about what opportunities were available on Earth. Mist Island came to mind first, the Yunmo planet legacy and hundreds of grass and wood spirits. He didn't expect to claim the Yunmo legacy, but he definitely wouldn't pass up the spirits of grass and wood. Those could be exchanged for points. Maybe not enough for a godhead right away, but enough to push his realm ahead a rank or two. Next was the Bermuda Ruins, home to an intact E9 rank automaton race spaceship that would fetch a high price. There was also a sleeping Zerg Queen Mother in the Shenangjia Ruins, though he wasn't sure if the chat group mall accepted living beings. And besides, Yue Ming had only just broken into the planetary level. Going to Shenangjia now would be suicide. Hu Yambo had made arrangements there. Not even a world lord would do well. As for Bermuda, the ocean held too many king-level monsters. His current strength wasn't enough. Then I'll go to Mist Island first and harvest all the grass and wood spirits. Once my realm breaks through a few more ranks, or I comprehend a domain, I'll go to Bermuda for the automaton spaceship. I'll forget the Shenangjia Ruins for now. The most likely way to get enough points quickly was the automaton race ship in Bermuda. In the original novel, it was worth over 1,000 Hunyuan units. If he could sell that to the chat group mall, he'd have the points to buy low-level godheads in the early stage. Once he made it past the early stage and joined the Virtual Universe Corporation, points would no longer be a worry. Then he could be like Li Shan, drowning in points he didn't know how to spend. Chapter 11. Harvesting Spirits of Grass and Wood. Jiangnan Bay City lay roughly 3,000 kilometers from Australia. A typical planetary level stage 1 martial artist flew at about 600 to 800 meters per second, but Yue Ming's speed exceeded 2,000 meters per second. He crossed the sky and reached Australia in under half an hour. If not for the time he lost dealing with avian monsters that attacked while he flew, he could have made the trip in about 25 minutes. Curious about the chat group mall's rules, Yue Ming tested whether it accepted living creatures. He captured a few monsters alive along the way, but the mall rejected them. When he killed the monsters and tried again, their corpses were accepted, but yielded only a handful of points. Yue Ming abandoned the idea of farming points by slaughtering monsters. Because the novel he had read never gave the exact coordinates for Mist Island, he had to search. After flying a while, he discovered that Australia was teeming with monsters. Lord-level creatures were common and king-level ones not rare. Avian monsters were especially numerous and harrying him in the sky. Most were only beast general level, with a few lord-level birds he could handle without trouble. After 2 hours of searching, Yue Ming finally found the lake from the novel, a body of water with a circumference of roughly 100 kilometers, its surface ringed by lush aquatic plants. Now and then, a distant roar came from beneath the water. In the center of the lake sat a small island, shrouded in thick, impenetrable mist, undeniable proof that he had found Mist Island. He landed from the sky and stepped onto the island. It looked like primeval forest, dense trees, bright flowers, and thorny shrubs everywhere. The place pulsed with plant life, but oddly, there were no animals. Yue Ming began searching for the spirits of grass and wood. He had gone less than 1,000 meters when something blurred out of a flower bed. It was a pink blossom that swelled and burst open like a giant maw, a living flower trying to swallow him. Yue Ming stayed calm. He threw a punch and unleashed his genetic energy. The flesh and petal monster was smashed before it could reach him. He didn't stop to inspect it and moved on. Soon, he came to a grassy clearing where 9 towering trees rose from the center. "Spirits of grass and wood," he muttered. These were the 9 willow trees Luo Feng had encountered in the original story. Each was enormous, the smallest nearly a meter across, the largest 3 meters in diameter. Scholars disagreed about the origins of spirits of grass and wood. Some argued they were born from rare mutations. Others believed they evolved after absorbing peculiar energies from the fabric of the universe. On Mist Island, however, the truth was known. Babada had cultivated these spirits using wood-tooth crystal. Plants that had become spirits of grass and wood rarely attacked unless provoked. From a distance, they looked like ordinary trees, and without special senses, it was hard to distinguish them. Yue Ming harvested the 9 willows in under a minute and continued searching. He spent the next day combing Mist Island. Spirits only became obvious when approached, so locating them required getting close. By the time he left, Yue Ming had harvested a total of 178 plant spirits. It had taken a whole day because detecting them without special perception was time-consuming. He wondered whether Babada had noticed. Yue Ming was not a psyker master. Unless he displayed some trace of origin law comprehension, it was unlikely the higher beings who watched the planet would take special interest. Hong had already comprehended a domain. If Babada recruited disciples from Earth, Hong would have been brought to Yunmo planet long ago. The bald intelligence in Ruin Number 9 could continuously monitor Earth. Babada, as a higher-level life form, would be at least as capable. Still, Yue Ming shrugged off the thought. Losing the chance to inherit the Yunmo planet legacy was a pity, but those legacies were ordinary, undying Marcus-level secrets. Hu Yanbo's legacy had been a Psyker Master legacy. The Yunmo planet lineages left behind by Hu Yanbo's soul slaves were mundane by contrast. On the universe's stage, Yue Ming could find far more powerful legacies than he might have found on Earth. Deep beneath Mist Island, 10,000 meters underground, in the belly of a pitch-black alien spaceship, a spacious hall lay in darkness. Light from the high ceiling coalesced into a virtual projection of a figure 1.45 meters tall, horned and wearing a black robe, its eyes red as blood. It studied a 3-dimensional screen showing Yue Ming finishing his harvest and preparing to depart. "Such a greedy human," the figure hissed. "He stole all the spirits of grass and wood Babada cultivated. I'm furious. He does have wide domain breadth, though. It's a shame he isn't a Psyker Master." Babada had seen Yue Ming land on the island and watched as he plundered the plants Babada had nurtured with wood-tooth crystal. The theft angered him, but his tone softened when he spoke of Hu Yanbo. 50,000 years. Master, you have been gone 50,000 years. I will follow your orders and cultivate a worthy disciple." He stared sorrowfully at a crystal coffin set in the center of the hall. Inside lay a corpse, Hu Yanbo's. Regaining his composure, Babada opened a pouch and threw another handful of wood-tooth crystal into the surrounding earth. Since Yue Ming had wiped out the cultivated spirits on the surface, Babada would have to cultivate new ones. The crystals landed and began to hum faintly in the dark soil, seeding a new generation of spirits to arise from Mist Island's primeval loam. Chapter 12. Water Domain. 178 spirits of grass and wood sold for only 35 points, roughly 1 point for every 5 spirits of grass and wood. There were many treasures like spirits of grass and wood in the chat group mall. Yue Ming remembered that he had once spent 3 points to buy 6 heart of sunflower plants to break through to peak high-level war god. He hadn't expected that selling similar items back to the chat group mall would fetch so little, 5 spirits for a single point. Logically, the mall should only take about a 20% cut, so the difference shouldn't be this wide. The only reasonable conclusion was that the mall's stock of such treasures was far higher quality than those on Mist Island. Swallowed Star. Yue Ming rank. 1. Folded. Golden Finger. Law Fusion Device points. 41. After selling all the spirits of grass and wood, Yue Ming checked his attribute panel. Including the 6 points he'd had left, he now had 41 points, enough to break through to planetary level 3 with points to spare. He didn't plan to return to Jiangnan Base City. Instead, he found a quiet spot on the Australian continent to enter secluded cultivation, planning to spend time at the seaside afterward, practicing the A Drop in the Ocean sword art. When he'd bought the A Drop in the Ocean sword art from the chat group mall, the description had said it was created by a heavenly absolute swordsman who, while practicing by the sea, finally grasped the concept of a mayfly in the vast universe, a drop in the boundless ocean. Yue Ming had already cultivated that sword art to major achievement, but he had always been just shy of comprehending its core concept. He hoped seaside secluded cultivation would let him break that final bottleneck. I'll still use dragon crystal rice for cultivation, he decided. Inside the chat group mall, Yue Ming spent 12 points to buy 6 grains of dragon crystal rice. He refined them in half a day and successfully broke through to planetary level 2, then spent 3 days stabilizing his realm. Dragon crystal rice contained extremely pure life energy and was easy to refine. 6 grains took him only half a day, unlike wood tooth crystal, where even 1 grain might take a month. Not satisfied, Yue Ming pushed on. He spent 24 points for 12 more grains of dragon crystal rice, refined them all in a day, and his realm broke through to planetary level 3. In total, the 2 breakthroughs consumed 36 points, leaving him with 5. After that breakthrough, his base strength reached 24 million kilograms, comparable to a peak planetary level 4. On Earth, only Hong, the Thunder God, and the 2 great beast emperors were even comparable. The 2 beast emperors almost always dwelt in the deep ocean and rarely came ashore, so Yue Ming felt safe cultivating by the sea. A week after stabilizing his realm, Yue Ming flew to the seaside. Looking out over the boundless ocean where sea and sky blurred into one, his chest opened with a sense of freedom. He wasn't in any hurry to cultivate immediately. He first cleared the nearby area of monsters, then descended to the seabed to begin his secluded practice. The surface waves were wild, but the seabed was relatively calm with steady undercurrents. At first, the water environment felt strange. When performing the A Drop in the Ocean sword art, he could barely keep the sword movements from distorting. It took half an hour to adapt, and at first his moves were far less fluid than on land. After several days of work, however, he could perform the art normally. Each swing of his sword began to guide and shape the seabed currents until they served his purpose, and his sword movements grew increasingly effortless. Time slipped by. 2 months into his practice, Yue Ming felt a major transformation in his sword art. Each strike hummed with resonance and carried a special concept, clear evidence he had cultivated the A Drop in the Ocean sword art to perfection and finally grasped its true meaning. Still, he didn't stop. He continued secluded cultivation on the seabed. He felt he was close to comprehending something greater, the domain. Secluded cultivation at sea proved unexpectedly productive. The only annoyance was having to clear out monsters every 10 days to half a month. Unnoticed, another 4 months passed. 6 months after he'd begun his seaside seclusion, one day while practicing his sword as usual, his mind gradually dove into a state of comprehension. He slipped into a mysterious condition as if his whole being had merged with heaven and earth. The miniature planet in his dantian, his genetic energy, the heaven and earth universe, and his grasped concepts all seemed to resonate and link, finally smoothing into a unified whole. The space around him began to distort. Faint ripples in the water spread outward, forming a blue special region about 100 meters across. It was unmistakably a domain. After half a year of hard cultivation, I finally comprehended a domain. Yue Ming murmured, opening his eyes and feeling the newly born domain settle into him. The 6 months of secluded training at the seabed had not been wasted. He had achieved his goal. Rank, planetary level 3, rank 1. Realm, water domain, first level. Genes, 3 exertion, 5 bimes. Secret techniques, none. Because he had immersed himself in the A Drop in the Ocean sword art and its oceanic concept, the domain he comprehended was the water domain. He had expected his special talent to lead to spatial control and thought he would first comprehend the space domain, but the sword art had redirected him. Since I've comprehended the water domain, the natural path forward is a water-space law fusion, he reasoned. In truth, he wasn't overly concerned which fusion path he took. His long-term goal, aided by the law fusion device, was to fuse the 10 great laws and ultimately evolve toward chaos law. Water-space fusion would be only the beginning. Comprehending the water domain sent his strength surging, more than 10 times stronger than before. After that leap, he was bold enough to enter the deep sea. Even if he encountered the 2 great beast emperors, he could defeat them in combat. Killing those ancient beasts, however, remained a different matter. Even Hong hadn't managed it. Otherwise, Hong would never have needed to sign a contract with them. Chapter 13. Automaton Race Spaceship. I finally found it. Is this the Automaton Race Spaceship? After arriving in the Bermuda Triangle, Yue Ming spent 3 days combing the area. He tried to be careful, but searching so aggressively in that region still drew attention. He killed every monster he encountered, including 4 king-level creatures, before he could approach the wreck. Hovering over the dark ocean, Yue Ming peered into the cold depths. Far below, a vast white silhouette took shape, a silver-white pyramid rising from the seabed, an incredible 1,200 meters tall. The pyramid was the Automaton Race spaceship, lying silent on the ocean floor. Even at a glance, it was obvious the Automaton Race's engineering far outclassed the human race's ships. From the outside, you couldn't tell its class, but Yue Ming, having read the original novel, knew exactly what it was: a top-tier E-class vessel, fitted with 3 star-destroying main cannons and 9 E3-class laser turrets. Those main cannons alone could obliterate a planet with a single shot. Fortunately, there's no intelligent life form left on it. The ship had originally belonged to an Automaton Race Undying, but the Undying had long since perished. Normally, an Undying's vessel would retain an intelligent life form at its core, and without that, seizing the ship would be nearly impossible. In the novel, when Hu Yambo fell, he left behind the intelligent life form Babata. Under Babata's control, even a world lord couldn't wrest the Yunmo starship away. An Undying-class ship's defenses were impenetrable. Yue Ming remembered that detail. Because this Automaton Race ship was said to have no remaining intelligent life form, it was the only reason he dared come so close. Without an intelligent life form to interface with the ship's systems, Yue Ming couldn't hope to control it himself. He considered taking it apart or trying to hack the system, but that would be slow and hazardous. In the end, he chose the fastest option. Sell Automaton Race spaceship. Congratulations, you have received 85 trillion points. He dived to the wreck, connected to the chat group mall, and sold the ship on the spot. It vanished like a mirage. Yue Ming had half expected the sale to fail. He'd only been testing a possibility. But the mall accepted it and credited him with 85 trillion points. He grimaced. In the chat group's valuation, the ship was a 4th-tier item with a base price of at least 100 trillion points. After the mall's 20% fee, 85 trillion made sense. Still, in the swallowed star world, the same ship would be worth over 1,000 Hunyuan units. At auction, it might fetch 2,000. If he'd been willing to trade through the local market first, his points could have doubled. But Yue Ming had a pressing need: divine sparks. He couldn't afford to wait. With 85 trillion points, he could afford low to mid-grade divine sparks and a handful of cultivation resources to raise his genetic quality. More importantly, the points would let him buy whatever shielding he needed to protect a divine spark from space-time feedback. Once he had that, he could take a divine spark out in safety and seclude himself to work on the first layer of the water-space fusion law before the peak genius battle. He planned to return to Jiangnan Base City to make the purchases. Cultivating in the wilderness area was constantly disrupted by roaming monsters. In the city, he could go into true seclusion. The one nagging worry was the risk of exposing a divine spark on Earth. Great power attracts attention. A divine spark is condensed law. If the great axe founder or the primordial chaos city lord detected it, they would investigate thoroughly. Ordinary excuses wouldn't satisfy them. Until Yue Ming had enough strength to defend himself, a divine spark could not be revealed. Half a year had passed since he began secluded cultivation underwater. It was already November. According to the novel's timeline, Luo Feng should by now have become a martial artist and joined the Dojo of Limits, probably training with the Firehammer Squad in the wilderness area. Yue Ming logged back into the chat group to scan them all for any items that could shield against space-time feedback. Chat messages flowed in. Li Shane, Tier 5. Liu Ming, congratulations, finally broken through to Tier 2. According to the realm divisions in A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality, you're now in the nascent soul stage, right? In that world, you'd be considered a master. A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Liu Ming, Tier 2. It took me 120 years of hard cultivation to break through to Tier 2. I can't compare to you, Brother Li. My golden finger isn't strong, just a pirated heaven-grasping bottle. Beyond extending the lifespan of spirit medicines, it's almost useless. I might have the worst golden finger in the chat group. Yue Ming, Tier 1. Looks like I logged in at the wrong time and overheard something I shouldn't have. But congratulations, Liu Ming. You've reached Tier 2. Now I'm the lowest cultivation level in the chat group. A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality. Lumir 2. Haha, it's only a small breakthrough. You'll catch up soon. Isn't the swallowed star world about to hold the peak genius battle? If you place well and join the Virtual Universe Corporation, you'll probably surpass me quickly. Yue Ming, Tier 1. Getting a good ranking in the peak genius battle is harder than it sounds. There are countless geniuses across the universe. With my current strength, I'm afraid I might not even make it past the first elimination round. He read the messages, then turned his attention back to his plans. The points in his account were secure for now. He would return to Jiangnan Base City, find shielding against space-time feedback, buy a suitable divine spark, and go into seclusion. There was still a long way to go before the battle, and even longer before he could relax. Chapter 14, Space-Time Jammer. Rank 5. Yue Ming, you've been offline for a long time. Last time you said you were in seclusion to comprehend your domain. By the time flow in the swallowed star world, it's been almost half a year, right? Have you finished comprehending it? Yue Ming, Rank 1. It's been half a year here. I did finish comprehending the domain, and I also just gained a large amount of points. I don't have to worry about points for the early stages anymore. I even have enough to buy a divine spark. During his half-year seclusion underwater, Yue Ming hadn't completely cut himself off from the outside world. He logged into the chat group from time to time, and since Li Shanhe was almost always online, he chatted with him the most. The last time they'd spoken, he had mentioned he was in seclusion. Liu Ming, A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality. Rank 2. I really envy you guys who don't have to worry about points. I joined this chat group early, but my golden finger is useless. I'm still struggling, cultivating spirit medicines day and night and selling them in the chat group mall for a tiny number of points. Yue Ming, Swallowed Star. Rank 1. What you're doing is actually good. If your golden finger cultivates spirit medicines, just find a safe place, slowly cultivate, and sell them. You won't have to fight for your life like we do. Liu Ming, A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality. Rank 2. Don't comfort me. It's a shame I can't change my golden finger. If it weren't for the chat group mall, where cultivation techniques and pills are abundant, I'd be grateful just to reach foundation establishment, let alone nascent soul. Li Shane, Coiling Dragon. Rank 5. Everyone knows the situation in Liu Ming's world. Resources are monopolized by the major powers. To reach foundation establishment, you basically have to join a major faction. Otherwise, you need a foundation establishment pill, and risking it without one is probably less than a 1 in 100 chance of success. Yue Ming, Swallowed Star. Rank 1. I guess everyone's in a similar boat. The early stages of transmigration are always like this. Once we get past the early stages, things should improve. Yue Ming, your already nascent soul. Back in your world, you're a big shot. As for me, I haven't even left the newbie village yet. I don't know how long it'll take. If Yue Ming had been given a golden finger like a pirated heaven-swallowing bottle, he'd probably curse. The swallowed star world isn't short of cultivation resources, so a golden finger focused on spirit medicines would be almost useless here. Fortunately, his own golden finger, the law fusion device, was actually quite useful. Yue Ming, rank 1, I have a problem. You all know how it is here. A universe lord can reverse space-time. On Earth, I can't casually take out a divine spark. If anyone notices, it'll be hard to explain. Li Shani, rank 5. That's simple. The chat group mall has many supreme treasures that can conceal heavenly traces and shield karma, but those can only be bought with origin points. You don't have any of those right now. How many points do you have? I can check and recommend something. I'm online all day, chatting or browsing the mall. You rank 1, 8,500 trillion points. Li Shanhei, Coiling Dragon, rank 5. That's not bad, but it's not enough for the real top-tier stuff. With that, you can only afford up to rank 3 items. Wait, there's a treasure called the Space-Time Interferer. It's listed as rank 3, but it was refined from a broken rank 5 artifact, so its space-time interference is unusually strong. It should be able to interfere with rank 5 powerhouses. Go look it up in the mall. Yue Ming, Swallowed Star, rank 1. I'll check the mall now. Yue Ming searched the chat group mall for space-time interferer. From the name, it was obvious what it did, but he wanted the details, how effective it really was, and whether it would work against a universe lord. Item, space-time interferer. Origin, Dora Great Universe. Refined by the divine realm Heavenly Maiden from a broken heavenly evolution plate and fused with 7 kinds of divine crystals. Possesses space-time interference ability and contains a storage function, a small world inside. The results appeared quickly. From the description and the item images, the space-time interferer was essentially a world ring with space-time interference capabilities. It stated the interference had an upper limit. It could affect up to rank 5. Under the Myriad Heavens ranking system, universe lords and true gods top out at rank 5. Rank 6 can already destroy a universe, and a universe lord or true god wouldn't reach that. For Yue Ming, a rank 3 item that could interfere with rank 5 was more than enough. No wonder the chat group classified it as rank 3. It only had the single function of space-time interference, so few would buy it. Purchase space-time interferer, deducting 2,000 trillion points. The space-time interferer wasn't cheap. It cost Yue Ming a full 2,000 trillion points, immediately reducing his balance by a quarter. He still had 6,500 trillion left, enough to buy divine sparks for the early stages. It was important to understand the difference between interference and shielding. Interference makes the region around him fuzzy and unclear when a universe lord reverses space-time. It disrupts perception and the temporal scene. Shielding, however, completely conceals one's presence in the river of time. Supreme treasures that conceal heavenly traces and shield karma make it appear as if someone never existed at all when time is reversed. Those supreme treasures were far too expensive, purchasable only with origin points. Without them, you can't even see the data. Probably only someone like Sectmaster Tongqian in the entire chat group had such a high-grade supreme treasure. Yue Ming, Swallowed Star. Rank 1. The space-time interferer is very good. It can interfere with up to rank 5, which is enough for me. The only drawback is the price. It cost me 2,000 trillion points. Li Shanhei, Coiling Dragon. Rank 5. I almost forgot to mention. The Myriad Heavens Mall Alliance holds an auction every 10,000 years. By my calculation, the next one should be in a few years. Each chat group gets 3 invitation letters according to the rules. Our group is new and small. Interested in going to watch? Yue Ming, Swar, rank 1. An auction held by the Myriad Heavens Mall Alliance? I'll pass. I don't have origin points, so I just stand there watching people buy supreme treasures. Not very interesting. Maybe another time. Yue Ming, A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality. Rank 2. I don't really want to go either. As Yue Ming said, without origin points, we can only watch and drool while others buy the good things. Why invite trouble? Li Shanhei, Coiling Dragon, rank 5. If you don't want to go, I'll ask the others. Liu Shanshan and Teng Qingyun should be interested, but they haven't been online much in the past few months. I don't know what they're busy with. Liu Shanshan, from the God Tomb world, rarely appeared online, though Yue Ming had run into her a few times in the chat group. As for Teng Qingyun from the Record of the 9 Tripods world, Yue Ming hadn't met him at all since joining. Li Shanhei was always online, but not everyone had that luxury. Their schedules just didn't overlap. Chapter 15, First Meeting with Luo Feng. I really want to see the auction the Myriad Heavens Mall Alliance is holding, but now isn't the time. Until I'm strong enough to protect myself, I should avoid meeting people offline. Better to be cautious. Yue Ming wanted to attend the auction. Knowledge was valuable, even if he didn't have enough origin points to bid on treasures, but he was uneasy. His strength was still too low, and he didn't feel safe. He wasn't the only one with reservations. Lu Ming felt the same, so he declined the invitation as well. Yue Ming sent a short message in the channel. First order, I might have to go offline. A beast tide has broken out ahead, and it looks large. This is the first one I've run into since I transmigrated to the Swallowed Star world. Li Shan, fifth order, go take care of it. We'll chat when you have time. With your current strength and having comprehended a domain, there aren't many on Earth who could match you. Don't worry about your safety. Yue Ming wasn't making an excuse. There really was a beast tide. Ahead, in the wilderness area, hundreds of martial artists fled in panic, pursued by a dark, roiling mass of monsters. Up close, the creatures were small, about 30 centimeters long, rat-like, and individually weak, the most common kind of monster. Their strength didn't matter when their numbers were endless. They covered the wilderness as far as the eye could see. Yue Ming hovered at a high vantage, watching. The beast tide stretched nearly 100 li. Martial artists who ran too slowly were swallowed quickly. Some disappeared within the tide, their bodies devoured without a trace. He couldn't stand idly by. Though he wasn't a saint, he wouldn't watch people die if he could do something without risking himself. A water-blue ripple unfurled from Yue Ming's body, spreading out in a 100-meter radius. As he flew, every monster touched by the edge of his domain exploded or was crushed to pulp. In less than a minute, he had cleared almost a tenth of the tide. That was the reality of a domain, an absolute suppressive force over lower realms. Under it, lesser opponents were simply crushed. Flying through the air, a planetary-level expert has made a move. Luo Feng, we're saved! Is this what planetary-level strength looks like? It's terrifying. Someday I'll reach that level too. The hundreds of martial artists who'd been saved looked up at the figure streaking overhead, gratitude written on their faces. Had he not arrived, they'd have been swallowed sooner or later. Yue Ming wasn't intending to linger, but he heard a voice call the name Luo Feng. He paused and turned. Among the rescued was a young man of about 18, breathless, lean, about 1.75 meters tall, and still a little boyish. Luo Feng, the protagonist of the Swallowed Star world. Yue Ming hadn't expected to encounter him here. He glanced at Luo Feng, then went back to clearing monsters. He had no intention of making friends. As he pushed into the heart of the tide, Yue Ming found someone fighting at its center. The scene tugged at his memory. If he wasn't mistaken, the besieged fighter was Lu Gang. Yue Ming remembered the original plot. Lu Gang, sacrificing himself to cover others' retreat, attracted the beast tide and was eventually overwhelmed and devoured. He'd respected Lu Gang in the original story. Lu Gang's situation grew desperate. Each swing of his saber felled dozens of the small monsters, but there were too many, boundless and relentless. Fatigue painted his face, his reserves were almost gone, and despair edged in despite his resolve. Just as Lu Gang's strength was about to give out, a figure swooped down. Yue Ming's domain expanded and slaughtered countless beasts. He landed, frowning as he watched Lu Gang still standing dazed in place. Still just standing there? Are you waiting to feed them? He snapped. Lu Gang's face flushed. He'd been a veteran of many battles. He shouldn't have been distracted. The sudden, overwhelming effect of the domain had stunned him. He recovered quickly and bowed. Thank you for saving my life. May I ask your name? I will repay you handsomely. With the display of power he'd just seen, Liu Gang was certain the newcomer was a planetary-level expert. He had learned the names of most such figures around the God of War palace. This one was unfamiliar. There's no need for repayment. Please, don't mention my affairs. I prefer to cultivate quietly and not be disturbed, Yue Ming said. He turned and resumed sweeping the area free of monsters. In 5 or 6 minutes, he had cleared the entire wilderness area. The tide was quelled. Yue Ming then sensed a fighter jet streaking toward him, likely military personnel or recruitment forces seeking to bring a planetary-level expert into their fold. He had no intention of joining anyone. He broke off and flew in the opposite direction, circling for a few minutes before heading back to Jiangnan Base City. Once in the city, he checked into a hotel, took a long, hot bath, and collapsed onto the bed in a deep sleep. He hadn't rested properly during his half-year of secluded cultivation in the wilderness area. What Yue Ming didn't know was that while he slept, the world had been turned upside down by his actions. News of a beast tied in County City 0231 being quelled by an unknown passing planetary-level expert spread rapidly among Earth's high-level human authorities. Chapter 16, Hong and Thunder God. Although it's not the same as my domain, it can definitely be confirmed as a domain. My domain is light. His appears to be water. Judging from the strength he displayed, he's at least planet level 3, maybe even planet level 4. In the bright, spacious main hall at the global headquarters of the Dojo of Limits, a 3D projection replayed the footage of Yue Ming clearing the beast tide. Satellite interference from the domain left the image blurred and indistinct. 2 men stood before the projection. One wore black, was roughly 1.9 meters tall, and had a sharp, severe presence, Hong. The other wore a white robe and had a gleaming bald head, Thunder God. A planet level 3 realm, possibly planet level 4 plus a domain, Thunder God repeated. Even I, at planet level 7, might not be a sure match. And yet he's so low-key. If it hadn't been for this beast tide, no one would have guessed someone of that strength was hiding on Earth. They both understood what a domain meant. Ordinary planet-level martial artists didn't draw such attention, but a planet-level warrior with a domain was a different matter entirely. No one knew that more clearly than the two of them. Maybe he has his own reasons, Hong said. Or maybe, like us, he doesn't care for power and fame. He wants nothing to do with worldly entanglements and pursues cultivation alone. With his strength, he could found a base city and become a magnate if he wanted to. Hong and Thunder God truly had no taste for power, fame, or wealth. If not for the need to strengthen humanity, they wouldn't have set up martial halls at all. Their desires were simply on a different plane. It's a pity the domain scrambled the satellite feed. We could only tell he's male and probably young. One thing is certain. After clearing the beast tide, he returned to Jiangnan City base. I've already asked the Thunder Martial Arts Hall to investigate. We should have his identity very soon. When you investigate, be careful. Avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Once we confirm who he is, the two of us will go see him personally. Another strong person on Earth will ease some of our burdens. As Earth's strongest, Hong commanded a unique standing. Others in his position might jealously guard that status or eliminate rivals by any means. Hong was different. Having seen how vast the universe was and how small Earth was by comparison, he wanted successors, others powerful enough to defend humanity. In Hong's mind, Earth needed more protectors, not fewer. I never thought there'd be anyone besides you with a domain, Brother Hong, Thunder God admitted with some gloom. When will I be able to comprehend a domain? Is my comprehension that bad? Thunder God's mood dipped. He was considered a cultivation prodigy, currently the highest realm and the strongest amplifier on Earth after Hong. Yet he couldn't grasp a domain. He always felt he was just a hair's breadth short. Feeling pressure isn't a bad thing, Hong said. At our realm, opponents are rare. Every small breakthrough is hard won. Pressure can become motivation. As for a domain, don't rush it. You're actually very close, probably one step away. It's just a matter of time before it clicks. Maybe you're right, Brother Hong. Over the past decade, my progress has slowed, perhaps because I stopped feeling pressure. But I don't want a junior to overtake me. I, Thunder God, the world's second strongest, can't lose face. Why don't you activate your domain so I can feel it again? Maybe this time I'll succeed. Despite his open-heartedness, Thunder God, like any senior, didn't want to be surpassed. Having a domain versus not having one was a world of difference. Even though his realm was higher than Hong's, sparring with Hong always ended with him defeated without protest. I can't force it for you, Hong said with a small shake of his head, his voice laced with gentle disdain. Still, he activated his domain so Thunder God could study it closely. They'd done this many times over the years, but Thunder God remained stuck at that final step. Comprehending a domain was something no one could hand to you. It had to be realized from within. Hong himself had arrived at his domain inexplicably. One day, it simply happened. Hong's comprehension and temperament were exceptional. For an Earth native without a legacy or a mentor to reach a domain at the planet level was nothing short of miraculous. In raw physical talent, Thunder God may have surpassed Hong, but in comprehension and heart nature, Hong was unmatched on Earth. Even Luo Feng in his early days had been inferior. Luo Feng had only risen to the top through a chain of fortunate events in his later stages. Meanwhile, word of Yue Ming's strength spread rapidly through the higher tiers of human society. Major factions rushed to recruit him. Before they could act, though, the Dojo of Limits intervened, forbidding anyone from disturbing him. They'd located Lu Gang to ask about Yue Ming. Lu Gang had kept his promise and revealed nothing, only that Yue Ming did not want to be disturbed. "I'm just relaying a message from our hall master," Inspector Wang announced to the assembled representatives. "What you do from here is your choice. If you have questions, go directly to our hall master. I believe he will give you a satisfactory explanation." "You're being overbearing," shouted one faction leader. "Why are you blocking us from recruiting him?" "Inspector Wang, you owe us an explanation." Anger boiled among the gathered powers, but none could act. Who would dare defy Hong? That would be like courting death. Hong's authority was supreme. Even when he rarely involved himself in worldly matters, a word from him was binding. Reluctantly, the major forces had to abandon their immediate plans to recruit Yue Ming. Chapter 17, Hundredfold Genes. I haven't slept this comfortably in ages. If I'm going into seclusion for a long time, staying in hotels will be a hassle. I should just buy a villa. I still have over 200 million Huaxia coins in the bank, more than enough for a detached villa. When Yue Ming opened his eyes, it was already noon. He ordered a lavish lunch from the hotel staff, and after eating, he went to the audiovisual room, logged into the martial artist platform, and began looking at villas. Martial artists affiliated with a force are usually given a villa to live in, but it's only a right of residence. You can't sell or rent it for profit, and the force can reclaim it at any time. Many martial artists, however, never join a force. Some prefer freedom, others lack aptitude and are overlooked. So the major powers developed villa communities specifically for sale to independent martial artists. After a long search, Yue Ming chose villa number 188 in Ning'an residential area. It was listed at 170 million Huaxia coins. He paid a deposit and arranged a 3 p.m. viewing. That afternoon, he toured the house with the salesperson. 3 floors, a basement training room, a terrace pool, a home theater, fully equipped, and a total area of 850 square meters. It suited him perfectly. He wasn't buying it for luxury, but for seclusion. He paid the balance on the spot, signed the contract, and officially became the owner of Villa number 188. There are only 9 years left until the peak genius battle, he thought. I have to hurry and buy a godhead to comprehend the origin law. With a godhead's help, cultivating the first layer of the water-space fusion law within 9 years should be possible. Yue Ming sat cross-legged in the underground training room, drew a white jade plate from his belongings, and bit his finger. A drop of blood fell on the jade. The plate absorbed it, melted into a mercury-like liquid, and seeped into his skin, leaving a jade plate-shaped mark. He left a mental imprint in the plate. The white jade plate was a space-time interferer. What he had performed was the blood-binding ritual following the instructions in the chat group mall. The interferer also served as storage, containing a small world. The small world was vast, roughly half the size of Earth. After the blood-binding ritual, Yue Ming felt a close connection to the device, as if it had become an extension of his body. With a thought, he could perceive everything inside the small world. The interferer also had a concealment function that blocked mental probing from below the fifth tier, and while sealed, could not be detected even by high-ranking beings such as universe lords or true gods unless he took it out himself. That would be useful when he eventually joined the Virtual Universe Corporation. He would no longer worry about carrying a godhead and being discovered. Search for a lower-tier water godhead and a lower-tier space godhead, he said to himself. With the space-time interferer bound, Yue Ming could safely purchase godheads. He logged into the chat group mall and searched for lower-tier water and space godheads. Tens of thousands of results appeared. Descriptions scrolled by: a lower-tier water godhead from the world of sword and magic, left by Celia after her death on the god and demon battlefield. A lower-tier space godhead from the world of eternal holy god, left by Cecil, the god of space, after he was besieged and killed by the gods. Even among lower-tier godheads, the prices varied wildly, from tens of billions to hundreds of billions of points, because the completeness of the law contained in each godhead differed. Yue Ming wasn't short on points, and godheads were crucial to his cultivation, so he aimed for the best. He spent 70 billion points to buy one lower-tier water godhead and another 70 billion points for a lower-tier space godhead. Two crystal-like godheads appeared in his hand. The water godhead glowed faintly blue, the space godhead faintly silver. Next, raise my gene level. He didn't rush to comprehend the godheads. First, he wanted to increase his gene multiplier. Doing so would improve his physical attributes and sharpen his perception of the laws, making comprehension easier. Higher gene multipliers mean a closer connection to the universe origin. It's easier to sense origin laws, and law-based attacks also become more powerful. He searched the mall's treasure listings. Tens of thousands of first-tier items appeared, priced from a few dozen points to a few thousand. The low-cost ones weren't worth his time, so Yue Ming spent 50,000 points on 10 decent treasures. As he refined each, his gene multiplier rose. When he refined the third treasure and reached a 10x gene multiplier, the increase stopped. He discovered that first-tier treasures could only raise the gene multiplier up to 10x. To go further, he had to use second-tier treasures. Yue Ming then spent over 300 billion points on second-tier treasures and pushed his gene multiplier to 100x. There it plateaued again. Further increases required third-tier treasures. 100-fold genes will do for now, he decided, shelving the idea of third-tier items. They were too expensive and he needed to save points for more godheads. The laws of each world differ. The two godheads he'd bought shared only about 40% similarity with the laws of the swallowed star world. The other 60% were completely different. That meant a single lower-tier godhead might not be enough. He might need dozens of lower-tier godheads, or even tens of them, to cross-reference and build a workable understanding. Why not just buy an upper-tier godhead? Yue Ming compared it to schooling. You need elementary, middle, and high school before university. Handing him a university-level text now would be pointless. The lower-tier godheads were the right step for his current level. Upper-tier materials would be too deep to grasp. Chapter 18. Comprehending the Godhead. My cultivation realm just broke through to the planetary level, 5th stage. Although the treasures Yue Ming had bought were primarily meant to raise his genetic level, and most of their special energies had been consumed during that transformation, the leftover energy was enough to push his realm to planetary level 5. He held two godheads in his hand and considered them briefly before stowing away the space element godhead. He would comprehend the water godhead first. He already had the water domain, so understanding the water origin law would be far easier. After his genetic level had multiplied 100-fold, Yue Ming could sense the fluctuations of the laws with startling clarity, ripples of the universe origin that had before seemed muffled by layers of gauze. Now those veils were gone. Fusing his consciousness into the water godhead, he was overwhelmed by law insights flooding his mind. His grasp of the water origin law accelerated at an almost impossible rate. At that speed, his water domain would likely break through to the second level in only a few days. Yue Ming was stunned. The water godhead's effect far exceeded his expectations. It felt less like he was seeking the law, and more like the law was chasing him to be absorbed. A godhead, indeed, his points had been well spent. Just as he concentrated, two uninvited guests arrived outside the villa. They revealed themselves openly, and Yue Ming sensed them immediately. One was planetary level 7, the other planetary level 6. On Earth, only Hong and the Thunder God possessed such cultivation. He had expected this day ever since he had displayed his strength, just not so soon. Reluctantly calling a pause to his comprehension, he put the godhead away, walked up from the underground training room, opened the door, and invited the two in. "Please come in." "Excuse the intrusion." They took seats in the living room. "Please forgive the poor hospitality," Yue Ming said. "I only bought this villa today and haven't hired servants. It's all done by myself. I hope you'll excuse the simple tea." "We don't care for luxury," Hong replied. "First, an apology. To find you, we sent people to investigate. Getting straight to the point. If I'm right, the reason you shot up to the planetary level so fast is because you found a legacy in some ruins. 6 months ago, you were only a low-level warlord. You were even injured in the wilderness area and lost a leg. Then you disappeared for half a year. When you came back, you were already planetary level." Hong had gone over Yue Ming's file carefully. It described an unremarkable youth raised in an orphanage, becoming a martial artist at 22, fighting in the wilderness area for 4 years before reaching low-level warlord. The only odd part was that 6-month disappearance. Hong suspected Yue Ming had found a legacy. "What do you intend to do?" Hong asked. "Don't misunderstand," Hong continued. "Even if you did obtain a legacy, we wouldn't steal it. We'd offer a fair trade if you were willing. If not, we won't force you." Besides the moral distaste for theft, Hong knew that even if a fight broke out, there was no guarantee he could subdue a planetary expert who possessed a domain. "I didn't obtain a legacy. More precisely, there were no secret technique legacies. I only got cultivation resources," Yue Ming said, laying out over a dozen grains of dragon crystal rice on the coffee table, treasures he'd bought from the chat group mall. "Wood-tooth crystal?" Thunder God inspected them, then shook his head. "They look similar, but the life energy in these is much purer. With this assisting cultivation, it's no wonder you broke through to the planetary level in half a year. How much of it do you have? Would you trade some?" "This is dragon crystal rice," Yue Ming corrected. "Since this is our first meeting, consider these a gift. I do have one request. I don't want my identity exposed. I want to cultivate quietly, alone. Besides the two of you, I don't want anyone else to bother me. I plan to go into seclusion for a few years." "No problem." Hong and the Thunder God exchanged a glance and smiled. Their expressions were approving. They appreciated someone who prized cultivation over fame or power. The two had set up martial halls not for wealth or notoriety, but to raise humanity's strength. Yet they themselves rarely handled administration, preferring secluded cultivation. "These dragon crystal rice must be valuable. Are you really giving them to us?" Thunder God's eyes gleamed. He had been stuck at planetary level 7 for years. With these, he felt almost certain he could reach planetary level 8. "I have plenty," Yue Ming said. "If you want more, we can trade treasures. I can't promise unlimited amounts, but I have enough for both of you to cultivate up to planetary rank 9. "That's a significant opportunity," Hong said. "Even without a secret technique legacy, these alone are a major boon." "Just good luck," Yue Ming shrugged. Thunder God's smile turned sly. "Since we're all gathered, why don't we spar? I'd like to see whether I can gain insight and grasp a domain." Hong rolled his eyes. "Lazy, don't be subtle. You've been one step away from grasping a domain for years, but you're too stubborn to make the final leap." Lazy, the Thunder God, blushed and protested. "Brother Hong, you don't have to put it like that. Don't expose my weakness." Yue Ming, having listened, spoke up calmly. "Actually, in the resources I acquired, there was some hidden information about domains and laws. Grasping a domain isn't mysterious. If you can synchronize and unify your body, source energy, concept, and the universe, form a special resonance and reach unified harmony, the domain will naturally arise." As Yue Ming finished, Thunder God's body began to crackle with power. Lightning bloomed across his skin, spreading outward and coalescing into a distinct area of energy. He halted the expansion before it could damage the villa, but the formation was complete enough. Thank you, Lazy said earnestly. He had been stuck on this step for more than 10 years. Yue Ming's words had given him the insight he needed. He had finally grasped a domain, and he felt he owed Yue Ming a great debt. Chapter 19, Resource Exchange. Congratulations, Lazy. You finally took the last step and comprehended a domain like you wanted. Seeing all that lightning, is your domain attribute lightning? Hong's stern face softened into a rare smile. He was genuinely pleased for the Thunder God. Ha ha ha, it's all thanks to Yue Ming's guidance, Thunder God said. If I'd relied on myself, I don't know how many years it would have taken. And yes, my domain attribute is lightning. Maybe it's tied to the special ability I gained when I broke through to planetary level. Only after truly possessing a domain did I understand its power. Brother Hong, you were holding back when we sparred before, weren't you? Hong only smiled. He had indeed held back in their previous spar. Otherwise, even though Thunder God had reached planetary level 7 and Hong was only planetary level 6, Hong could have finished him in 3 moves and killed him in under 10 if he'd fought seriously. I don't have the power to make someone comprehend a domain with a few words, Hong said. Your breakthrough was your merit. I only nudged you past your cognitive barriers. If it had been someone else, no matter how much I said, they might not have comprehended a domain. Thunder God's achievement was entirely his own. His praise was modest. When you were guiding Lazy just now, you mentioned law as well as domain. What is law? Is it a power above domain? Yue Ming explained. Realms in the universe are divided into 4 layers: foundation, concept, domain, and world. We're at the domain stage. Domains have 9 ranks. We're all only at the first rank. Above domain is origin law. There are 10 major origin laws in the universe: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, time, and space. Time and space are higher laws. The other 8 are lower laws. As Yue Ming spoke, Hong and Thunder God listened with interest. They'd learned a little from ruins and legacies before, knew of astral rank and universe rank above planetary level, but they had very little concrete knowledge about domains and laws. So how does one comprehend an origin law? Hong asked. Usually, Yue Ming answered, when a domain reaches the 7th or 8th rank, one can sense fluctuations of an origin law. Whether one can actually comprehend the law depends on individual comprehension ability. There are countless beings in the universe who reach the 9th rank of domain and still never cross into the threshold of law. Reaching rank 7 or 8 doesn't guarantee comprehension. He added a warning. Also, normally only universe rank experts possess domains, and even among them many don't. On average, a galaxy produces maybe 1 universe rank expert. Yet on Earth, there are 3 planetary level individuals with domains. Doesn't that seem odd? Are you saying Earth is unusual and may hold a secret? Hong's brow furrowed. 1 universe rank expert per galaxy, and even then not everyone had a domain, yet Earth had 3 planetary levels with domains. It did not take much to suspect Earth was special. I can't say for sure if Earth holds a secret, Yue Ming said, and he trailed off, careful around the subject of Zuo Shanke. But if this news gets out, it will definitely attract a lot of attention, people who covet Earth. He shifted topics. Let's stop talking about Earth for now. Do you want to exchange resources? If so, let's finish it today. I might go into seclusion for a long time and don't want to be interrupted. Exchange, Hong and Thunder God said in unison. Cultivation resources were scarce on Earth, and materials useful to planetary-level experts were rarer still. They were more than willing to trade with Yue Ming. This is my collection. Take whatever you want, Yue Ming said. Mine too, the two responded, and they brought up their inventories on their smart holo computers. A 3-dimensional projection displayed many items: intelligent fighters, black god armor, spirit essences of plants and wood, sky escape shuttles, energy weapons, and more. Yue Ming didn't dally. He selected over 100 items outright. Most of the things weren't especially valuable to him, but one item let Yue Ming turn a tidy profit: the sky escape shuttle. In the Swallowed Star world, it was a 3rd-tier psychic vehicle sold for 5 billion Black Dragon coins in the universe market. If sold through the chat group mall, it could be worth at least 20 to 30 million points. Since Dragon Crystal rice costs only 2 points per grain, one Sky Escape shuttle could buy tens of millions of grains. These Dragon Crystal rice will be enough for you to cultivate to planetary level rank 9, Yue Ming said. He handed Hong 780 grains and Thunder God 540 grains. That amount would be more than enough to raise them to planetary rank 9, and perhaps even to push toward astral rank, though Dragon Crystal rice is a first-grade treasure, and its effect diminishes at astral rank. Thank you, they said, tucking the Dragon Crystal rice away. From their perspective, their own treasures weren't worth that much rice. Yue Ming's generosity was overwhelming. It's just a trade, Yue Ming said. But I have a small request. You both know I came from an orphanage. Please look after it and the orphans connected to my teammates. Help arrange jobs for them so they won't be bullied. It's a small matter. I'll take care of it. Hong spoke calmly. Now that the important business is done and the exchange finished, why don't we spar? Thunder God, newly enlightened by his domain comprehension, was a bit excited. Yue Ming waved him off. I'll pass. I was in seclusion. I only came out to see you because you visited. I'm going back to continue my seclusion soon. We can spar another time. There's plenty of time in the future. Yue Ming wasn't keen on sparring anyway. Hong and Thunder God were too weak compared to him. Even at planetary level 5, with a 100-fold genetic advantage, he could crush them easily. A match would be meaningless. All right, remember to notify me when you come out of seclusion, Thunder God said with some reluctance. Don't mind him, Hong added with a chuckle. Lazy is like that. Nicely put, he's childlike. If you put it bluntly, he's a simpleton. Don't let his righteous, dignified appearance fool you. It's all for show. Brother Hong, you're revealing my old secrets again, Lazy protested. Do you think I want to be like that? I just have no other choice. How can I run the Thunder Martial Arts Hall if I'm always smiling and joking? Sometimes I regret founding the hall. There are so many petty tasks, and they slow down my cultivation. But back then, as a human expert, I had to step up. During the Great Nirvana period, humanity faced terrible hardships. If not for the sudden rise of figures like Hong and Thunder God, humanity might have been wiped out by the monsters long ago. 20. Space Domain. The Great Nirvana was truly brutal. Fortunately, it's over now. With this Dragon Crystal grain, we'll reach planet level rank 9 soon enough. Once we do, we'll be able to deal with those 2 beast emperors in the ocean, reclaim the lost human territories, and rebuild our homeland. I believe Earth's future will only get better from here. Recalling those grueling Nirvana trials, Hong sighed with feeling. In fact, if Thunder God had already comprehended his domain, and the 2 of them combined their strength, they could already handle the 2 beast emperors. Still, it was wiser to wait until they refined and absorbed the Dragon Crystal grain and completed their breakthroughs. Over the next 10 minutes, Hong and Thunder God chatted at length about the Great Nirvana, giving Yue Ming a much deeper picture of that era, details the original novel never mentioned. The treasures have been delivered. At Hong's shout, 2 intelligent fighter jets descended from the sky. They didn't land in Ning'an residential area, though, but on a public square a few kilometers away. A few minutes later, people from the 2 major martial arts halls quietly entered Ning'an residential area and carried 5 metal boxes into Villa number 188. I know you prefer peace and don't like a fuss, so I told them not to parade in here, Hong said. These metal boxes contain the treasures you exchanged for the Dragon Crystal grain. Want to inspect them? No need. Yue Ming shook his head. He trusted Hong and Thunder God's character. Besides, the items were just ordinary treasures. He didn't care much about them. He'd exchanged the Dragon Crystal grain with Hong and Thunder God because he liked them, nothing more. After the transaction was done, the 2 of them didn't linger. They arranged to spar the next time they met, said their goodbyes, and left. Yue Ming personally saw them out and watched them depart Ning'an residential area. Regarding today's events, no one is to mention it. Yes. Once outside Ning'an residential area, Hong immediately issued a gag order. Nobody in the Dojo of Limits was to reveal what had happened today. Thunder God did the same for the Thunder Martial Arts Hall. He also reminded his people to take care of the orphanage Yue Ming came from, and to look after the orphans left behind by Yue Ming's teammates. Anyone of working age was to be arranged a position in Thunder Martial Arts Hall. After they left, Yue Ming returned to the villa's living room and opened the 5 metal boxes one by one. He sold everything to the chat group mall and received over 28.5 million points. The sky-escaping shuttle was the most valuable item. The rest accounted for only a fraction of the total. World Annihilation. 9-layer Thunder Saber. Yue Ming looked at the 2 secret techniques in his hands. In the exchange for the dragon crystal grain, he had also chosen 2 earthly secret techniques, World Annihilation and 9-layer Thunder Saber. His current force exertion rank was only 5 times. He wondered if these techniques might inspire progress. Back in his underground training room, Yue Ming returned to secluded cultivation. First, he bought some dragon crystal grain and spent a day refining and absorbing it, breaking through to planet level 6. Then he retrieved the water element godhead from the space-time interferer to stabilize his realm while comprehending the water element godhead. A month passed in a flash. Yue Ming's cultivation realm advanced from rank 5 to rank 7, and his comprehension of the water elemental godhead produced remarkable results. He hadn't yet reached the law threshold, but his water domain had advanced steadily and was now at the 4th stage. That was the power of a godhead. Where others might take years to advance a single stage, he jumped from the 1st to the 4th stage in only 1 month. It was astonishing. From studying World Annihilation and 9-layer Thunder Saber, his force exertion rank rose to 7 times. But Yue Ming didn't plan to continue deep research into force exertion. Spending too long on it wasn't worth it when he had so little time to comprehend origin laws. Once he entered the universe, he could easily acquire force exertion secret techniques. Rank, planet level 7 stage, 1st stage. Realm, water domain. 4th stage, genes, 100 ties. Force exertion, 7 times. Secret techniques, none. Yue Ming opened his attribute panel and saw that the secret techniques he'd been cultivating did not appear there. Perhaps their rank was too low. After all, even World Annihilation and 9-layer Thunder Saber, the strongest on Earth, were nothing special in the universe. After a month of intense seclusion, Yue Ming took a day off. Cultivation needed balance. To reward himself, he spent tens of thousands on a sumptuous dinner. While waiting for delivery, he idly logged into the martial artist forum and found everyone debating the 100 billion bounty. It looks like, just like in the original story, Luo Feng still killed Li Wei, he thought. The plot hasn't changed simply because I showed up. Yue Ming had no interest in meddling in Luo Feng and Li Yao's feud. Let the plot run its course. He didn't have the time to interfere. He'd rather use every spare moment to comprehend laws and prepare for the peak genius battle. After his day of rest, Yue Ming returned to seclusion. This time, he planned to comprehend the space element godhead. Compared to the water origin law, the space origin law was undoubtedly more difficult. Fortunately, with the help of the space element godhead, he comprehended the space domain's 1st stage in only 7 days. Buzz. Even the 1st stage of the space domain, in terms of power, rivals or even surpasses the 2nd stage of the water domain, Yue Ming observed. Compared with the water domain, the space domain was clearly much stronger. That made sense. Space law was a higher-level law. But while the space domain was powerful, it also took longer to advance. He had spent a month with the water domain and leapt from the 1st to the 4th stage. To push the space domain to the 2nd stage, even with a godhead, he estimated it would take at least 20 days. Without the godhead and relying only on his own comprehension, it would likely take years per stage, even with his space control trait. No wonder so few reached venerable level. It was simply too difficult to comprehend higher origin laws. Fusion law must be tens of thousands of times harder than even a high-level law. He thought of the law fusion device and felt relieved. For everyone else, mastering fusion law might be like ascending to heaven. For him, it was almost trivial. If the origin laws he'd comprehended met the requirements, he could perform a one-click fusion with the device. The law fusion device fit the Swallowed Star world's cultivation system perfectly. In other worlds, Martial Dao or standard cultivation worlds, it wouldn't be nearly as useful.